Suddenly, they were stopped. A black flying ship magic artifact stopped before Blue Moon. It was beyond extreme grade cultivation artifact and was just a sliver away from half immortal artifact. Suddenly, they were stopped. A black flying ship magic artifact stopped before Blue Moon. It was beyond extreme grade cultivation artifact and was just a sliver away from half immortal artifact. At this moment, Emo realized no wonder Insu was so confident in stopping him. This flying magic artifact wasn't as good as Blue Moon but wasn't far off. Controlling it with his truth realization state peak stage power, it was no wonder it was a little bit faster than Blue Moon. But he didn't expect he was truth realization state power. If Emo wanted to run now, Insu wouldn't be able to chase up to Emo. But Emo didn't want to run now at all. He wanted Insu to come. He already earned big from Fong Yizong's storage ring. How could he not know that Inxu might be wealthier than Fong Yizong? Two cultivators appeared on the boat. One was Insu, and the other was the shadow next to him. Insu was the same as before. Long black hair flowed freely behind him. Standing on that flying ship, he seemed like an immortal. Tay's shadow behind him was pale-faced as usual. Emo spoke before Insu could. City Lord In is really fast. I've just gone for a spin at West Extreme State, and now we meet again. Is this luck or fate? Insu said calmly, I think it's luck. My luck is pretty good. I can meet Pillmaster Yi again. You're quite lucky to meet me here too. Emo nodded, lucky indeed. But I'm curious, why did City Lord In come to West Extreme State? Insu said calmly, not bad. Your truth realization state now. I thought you were only cauldron filling state before. Your stealth means are impressive indeed. I was wondering how you could easily kill In Sha. So that's it. Emo's tone went cold. City Lord In, you don't seem to have answered my question yet. Insu nodded. I didn't answer your question indeed. I can tell you now. I have a lot of time, so I don't mind chatting here for a few months, so you don't need to stall. As for why I'm at West Extreme State, it's because I met a truth realization state level 1 cultivator on the way to North Far State called Shandi. He told me you're at West Extreme State. But that Shandi was quite impressive. He actually escaped from me. Emo finally understood. Shandi not only didn't die but also reached truth realization state. Clearly, he must have found some treasure in the West Extreme State. Suddenly, Insu stared at Emo and asked, you have more Sha fruit, right? I believe you have more than 10 drops of 10,000 year stalagmite marrow. Emo nodded, that's right. I have 5 or 6 Sha fruit and half a bucket of 10,000 year stalagmite marrow. Then Emo added, I have a few extreme grade spirit ranges too. Oh, and I also have ice carrot and truth spirit pill. What can I say? I have too many good things on me. The Kuan scale I got from you is quite useful. I've put it on my flying magic artifact. Look, it's half immortal artifact now. The more Emo spoke, the more Insu's eyes lit up. Even someone like him couldn't resist anymore. Suddenly, his chi rose and his domain expanded. I know you use the Kuan scale. I won't go hard on you. Give me your storage ring and I will consider letting you go. Insu said excitedly. Emo said calmly, Kuan scale is mine. I can choose however I want to use it. Why should I give you my storage ring? Is it because I have a lot of good stuff? Oh, by the way, your flying magic artifact is pretty good too. How about you give it to me? Do you want to die? Those few women behind you will die a pitiful death. The dual cultivation brothels in In High City would welcome them dearly. Insu's voice went cruel. Emo reached his hand, and Zisu appeared in it. He said with more scorn, Insu, what if I tell you you won't have the chance to spirit control that small world? What would you think? Hearing this, Insu's eyes opened wide with shock. He didn't want to talk to Emo anymore. He stepped out, and 12 white shadows torn apart space looming over at Emo. They were white lines at the start, but when they were completely released, they turned into a few 100-meter-long veil. This terrifying sword shadow veil, any living being nearing it would be pulverized. Sword formation, Emo sneered. He has seen quite a few, and their users have all turned to dust. Insu only spoke with Emo for so long because he was afraid Emo would destroy his ring before his death. Now that Emo even knew he wanted to spirit control the small world, how could he let Emo live? That was his greatest secret. Even his shadow didn't know. So, He would rather not have anything but still kill Yimo. Because of this, he used his lethal blow immediately. Another flaming red spear appeared in his hand. Yimo sneered. Insu's power was terrifying and his sword formation was powerful, but he was a far cry from Feng Yizong. Yizemo stepped out too, releasing Zisu. Illusion Cloud Formation Kill Strike. He used the sword ray to stop the 12 flying sword formation. Yimo burst out his power, and his domain expanded out. Insu could hear cracks all around him, and then his face changed drastically. He didn't expect his domain to be this useless in Yimo's domain. In just a few moments, it cracked. Thud. The white veil was swept by Yimo's purple sword ray and became messy. It also spun slowly in Yimo's domain. But Yimo didn't show any mercy and hacked out with Zisu. It turned into a long beam and smashed with the spear. Rumble. Cultivation essence splashed everywhere, creating some cracks in the dimension. This strike made space itself unstable. Insu could no longer hold the worry in his heart. He now realized that Yimo wasn't scared of him at all. Without hesitation, he spat a mouth of essence blood and the space around him flowed again. He regained freedom. At the same time, the 12 flying sword hummed and broke free from Yimo's illusion cloud formation kill strike. They spun in the air and charged at Yimo with glistening sword ray. That pale cultivator realized that Yimo was on the level with his master. He knew he had to help now, and he dashed, wanting to charge into Blue Moon. Yimo sneered and released Octagonal Cauldron. Octagonal Cauldron brought along countless shadows clashing with the sword formation. Another huge rattle sounded. The Octagonal Cauldron stopped the 12 sword formations again. At this moment, Yimo raised his hand and threw tins of lightning sword at Insu. He charged over at the pale-faced cultivator in a purple ray. Insu wanted to stop Yimo, but he couldn't ignore the infant arm-sized lightning swords. He let out a semicircle shield without hesitation and formed a cultivation essence wall to stop the lightning sword. Meanwhile, Zisu tore through space towards the shadow cultivator. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. The space-tearing purple beam brought about sharp killing intent. This guy was a mere truth realization state level 6, and he dared to attack his magic artifact. Yimo was furious. He completely expanded his domain with this attack. The pale-faced cultivator was only truth realization state level 6, but he was extremely fast. He appeared next to Blue Moon in less than half a second. Blue Moon had a powerful defense formation, but a truth realization state cultivator could probably break in less than 2 seconds. The pale-faced cultivator was only truth realization state level 6, but he was extremely fast. He appeared next to Blue Moon in less than half a second. Blue Moon had a powerful defense formation, but a truth realization state cultivator could probably break in less than 2 seconds. But then when he arrived in front of Blue Moon, he felt slowed. It was as though he had sunk into a swamp. He immediately knew he fell into Yimo's domain. If he couldn't break free immediately, he would die very soon. Realizing this, he quickly burned mouthfuls of essence blood. That instant, he completely broke free, but then he saw a purple rainbow coming from the horizon. It was very beautiful, but Yimo knew it was no rainbow. It was his sword beam. Terror flashed in his eyes. He immediately released a black stick. With a thud, the magic artifact was hacked apart by Zisu. Zisu paused for a brief moment and exploded in purple rays. The shadow cultivator quickly activated a rune, wanting to break free from the range of the attack. Splurge blood flew up in the air, and Zisu hacked a long wound on the shadow cultivator's back. An essence spirit seeped out, but was instantly killed by Yimo's lightning sword. Seeing this, Insu's face looked very bad. He realized that Yimo was definitely stronger than him. He wanted to run, but how could Yimo let him run? Yimo didn't even have time to take the storage ring of the shadow and just hacked out at Zisu while expanding his domain. Insu was very regretful now, but he knew he had to pass this challenge, so when Yimo hacked over with Zisu, Insu released a frenzy attack with his spear. The spear released hundreds of spear beams that clashed with Zisu's sword beams. After the explosion, the beams disappeared and there was another ear-screeching noise. Zisu clashed head-on with the spear. Yimo was shook in his mind and felt a little dizzy. He knew Insu's cultivation essence was stronger than his. The more Insu fought, the more he was shocked. He didn't understand why Emo could kill his shadow with one strike. Why couldn't his ruined spirit spear break that kitchen knife? His spear was an ancient relic, something that could evolve. Emo also felt that the spear was on par with his Zisu. Insu suddenly spat blood again, and those 12 flying swords' power drastically rose. Emo instantly knew things weren't good. He just wanted to call back the octagonal cauldron, but there was a terrifying explosion. A black fissure appeared at where octagonal cauldron and the 12 flying sword clashed. The terrifying cultivation essence swept Emo again, sending him crashing onto Blue Moon before slowing down. The concussion made him spit many mouthfuls of blood. Emo realized what was going on. Insu self-destructed his set of extreme-grade cultivation artifact flying sword. This was worth a fortune. The intention was to run away. When Emo stabilized himself, Insu already activated a space transmission rune. Emo was annoyed. If he changed tactics and trapped Insu with his domain right at the start, and then attack him with lightning sword, he might not be able to get away. This Insu was this strong. He was only a little weaker than Fang Yizong. Seeing that he successfully activated the space transmission rune, Insu breathed easy. It was impossible for Emo to stop him where he was. But what Insu and Emo didn't expect was that suddenly a blue sword ray sliced across, and the space transmission rune was broken by this blue ray. Before Insu could react, that blue sword ray turned against Insu. With a splurge, there was the sound of flesh being cut apart. Insu was instantly killed by this blue sword ray. The next moment, a fire rose up and Insu's body and essence spirit disappeared in the flames. A middle-aged woman who wore a pale blue robe appeared in Emo's sight. She grabbed Insu's storage ring. Her actions flowed smoothly. Clearly, she was a powerful master. Seeing this, Emo was annoyed. He worked so hard, and this was all reaped by someone else. The reason she killed Insu so easily was not only due to her power, but because all of Insu's attention was at Emo's side. Before the woman could speak, Emo dashed to Insu's flying magic artifact and took it. As soon as he did, a pink flying ship appeared in his spirit sense and stopped next to the middle-aged woman. There were two aboard, and Emo knew both of them. It was Mu Feihuan and her disciple Lin Ruofei. "You're very cunning," said the middle-aged woman. Her voice was so soft and crisp that it sounded like a young girl. She looked very young, but Emo didn't think she was young. She was as tall as Emo, and her hair lay casually on her back, making her seem a little lazy. Her white skin matched with her extremely beautiful eyes made her seem really young. Emo went back to Blue Moon and looked at her. "If I was cunning, I wouldn't have worked my ass off for someone else." The beautiful woman suddenly smiled. "You wanted the cultivator's storage ring? Or his red spear? That spear isn't bad. It's on par with a low-grade immortal artifact." Emo didn't speak. He knew that she wouldn't be giving the things to him. Her power seemed very eerie. She continued, "If I didn't intervene, do you think you could have killed him? Perhaps he would have been long gone." Emo no longer had the mood to talk and just saluted with his fists. "Since you took them, I won't ask for them. Goodbye." She was right. He wouldn't be able to kill Insu. Just when Emo was about to leave on Blue Moon, the woman stopped in front of it. "I heard you taught my disciple Feihuan a lesson?" Hearing this, Emo realized they came for revenge. He released Zisu and sneered. "So what?" Emo knew this woman was strong, but no matter how strong she was, she couldn't be stronger than Fang Yizong. She laughed. "Well, young and brash. Very well, I like you like this. I heard you're a level 9 pill king too?" Emo didn't answer. Her stealth cultivation method was very powerful. She definitely had been hiding on the side from before. The woman laughed again. "I've just come out of solitary cultivation and I heard a very powerful cultivator came to the West Cultivator City. He's not old, but he passed the Heaven 36 domains and is a level 9 pill king. How can I pass by such a young hero? But pity, when I, Quan Ing, got there you'd already left." She smiled at Emo. "Look, I came out of West Cultivator City just to meet you." She smiled again, seeing that Emo didn't talk. "I heard Feihuan say you're interested in Ruofei. I love matching young prodigies. You're a prodigy, and so is our Snow Forest Pond's Ruofei. You two are a good match." This storage ring and the red spear can be the meeting gift. Of course, if you come with me to Snow Forest Pond, I will show you better things. At this moment, Su Jingwen was next to Yimo. Yimo pulled her hand and said to the woman, "Thank you. Ruafei is very good, but I have a wife already." At this moment, Su Jingwen was next to Yimo. Yimo pulled her hand and said to the woman, "Thank you. Ruafei is very good, but I have a wife already." The woman scanned Su Jingwen and said, "Then divorce her. If not, you can take her as a concubine." She said it so naturally that it was the same as, "Then kill her." Yimo's eyes turned cold, but then he frowned and then put away Zisu instead. He put Blue Moon on full throttle, and it instantly disappeared from the heartless sea sky in a blue blur. "Grandma, Yimo just left like that?" Mu Feihuan asked in confusion. She didn't understand why Yimo suddenly left. Even if he didn't agree, he didn't need to just leave without saying anything. As soon as she asked this, another person appeared. It was a bearded man standing on a metal hammer. The woman glanced at Mu Feihuan. "Now do you know? He thinks I'm going to attack him together with someone. He overestimates himself. But then again, he's a level 9 pill king. He has the right to." The woman guessed right. Yimo was indeed scared that she would join forces with someone to attack him. It was a beast cultivator who appeared in his spirit sense. He was a truth realization state peak stage beast cultivator. He couldn't protect Blue Moon with these two here, so he left. After leaving, Yimo set up a formation in Blue Moon and put the time formation disc inside to let Su Jingwen cultivate. He believed she would be able to reach nascent soul state peak stage in a few years with this many pills, spirit stones, and bitter bamboo. After Su Jingwen went into solitary cultivation, Tang Mingrao came to Yimo. She took out a truth realization grass and 2 Ju Sheng for Yimo. Yimo took them without saying anything and gave her 2 truth spirit pills and 1 disaster will pill. After some thought, Yimo gave her 2 truth meridian pills and 2 truth marrow pills. With Tang Mingrao's talent, she would be able to reach disaster transformation state peak stage in a short time with the disaster will pill. Perhaps she might even be able to reach truth realization state before getting back to North Far State. "Thank you, Yimo." Tang Mingrao took the pills in gratitude. Even her truth spirit grass and the 2 Ju Sheng, as well as other spirit herbs, were given to her by Yu Ming and them on Yimo's account. The reason Yimo gave her all this was first due to staying with her for so long, but more importantly, since if he couldn't find Yimo at North Far State this time, he might go back to South Peace State. He was hoping Tang Mingrao would keep searching for him. On top of that, Ling Zhongtian was nowhere to be seen. Shandi probably wouldn't be doing well either. In that case, there really wouldn't be anyone in North Far State to protect them. If something happened there or at MOU, Tang Mingrao would be able to help. Tang Mingrao was disaster transformation state level 8 peak, and how could she not know what Yimo thought? Even if Yimo didn't say this, she would help Yimo with that. Tang Mingrao and Su Jingwen went into solitary cultivation. Yuchan was bored being alone, so she went into cultivation too. Soon, it was only Yimo still out. He didn't have a spirit source, so it was not much use going into solitary cultivation. Ever since he reached truth realization state, the amount of spirit chi he needed for cultivation was terrifying. Although he had a few extreme-grade spirit ranges, he still wanted to set up a huge spirit gathering formation in MOU City. Burying a few extreme-grade spirit range into MOU City, Emo believed MOU City's spirit chi would become extremely dense. Blue Moon dashed through the Heartless Sea extremely rapidly without a trace. Even if some beast cultivator noticed it, they wouldn't be able to react to it. Yimo's spirit controlled the black boat he got from Yin Su, as well as the low-grade immortal artifact sword that Wang Xie gave him. It wasn't very suitable for him, but it was a low-grade immortal artifact. With that, it could save his life one day. 10 days later, after cultivating for nearly 3 years in the time formation disc, Su Jingwen came out. She was nascent soul state peak stage. Yimo stopped Blue Moon on a deserted island, letting Su Jingwen have her hollow spirit state divine damnation. 3 days later, Su Jingwen successfully reached hollow spirit state. However, Tang Mingrao and Yuchan were still in solitary cultivation. Su Jingwen continued to cultivate in the time formation disc to catch up to Yimo, while he stayed out controlling Blue Moon and cultivating Heaven Flame 9 Suns. He felt this was very important to him. He spent most of his time in cultivation, so now that he finally had some time, he would study this. In nearly 4 months, Yi-Mo cultivated level 1 of Heaven Flame 9 Suns to aqua color. He was just a bit away from Blue Sun level. Only then did he realize Heaven Flame 9 Suns' true power. If he used Heaven Flame 9 Suns now to attack Fong Yizhong's bugs, he was certain that not a single would be able to escape. At the same time, he knew he could cultivate level 2 of Heaven Flame 9 Suns, but with his current Heaven Flame, it wouldn't be much stronger than level 1 and would instead use up a lot of his spirit sense. In order to fully complete Heaven Flame 9 Suns, he needed to upgrade his Mist Lotus Heartfire to purple. For Heaven Flame 9 Suns, the quality and level of the Heaven Flame was the most crucial part. At this moment, Su Jingguan and Yu Chan came out of solitary cultivation, so Yi-Mo stopped cultivation too. Su Jingguan stopped because the immortal crystals in the time formation disc had been used up. She was Hollow Spirit State peak stage now. From some degree, Tang Mingrao's talent was on par with Su Jingguan. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to reach Disaster Transformation State level 8 in a place like North Far State. From some degree, Tang Mingrao's talent was on par with Su Jingguan. Otherwise, she wouldn't be able to reach Disaster Transformation State level 8 in a place like North Far State. Tang Mingrao was very prepared for Divine Damnation, so after eating the Truth Spirit Pill, the Divine Damnation came in half a day. Truth Realization State Divine Damnation. The first wave of 9 bolts were far weaker than Yi-Mo's Divine Damnation, but still very powerful. Just looking at how Tang Mingrao blocked the first wave, Yi-Mo knew she would be fine passing the Truth Realization State Divine Damnation. The sky was very clear before her Divine Damnation, but now, it was covered in dark clouds and thunder. With all this ruckus, there was no way powerful beast cultivators nearby wouldn't notice. A red-haired beast cultivator came above the Heartless Sea and said in confusion, "Who is having Divine Damnation?" When he saw the first wave come down, his face changed drastically. Truth Realization State Divine Damnation? There's a beast cultivator in Heartless Sea reaching Truth Realization State? Who? Tang Mingrao was at her 4th wave, but there was a huge laugh. I was thinking who had the power to have Truth Realization State Divine Damnation in Heartless Sea. So it's the little girl from Jade Woman sect. Ha 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 ha. After this hysterical laughter, the red-haired beast cultivator said excitedly, "If Kong Yi old man knew you were having Divine Damnation in the Heartless Sea, he would be regretting so much." Tang Mingrao wasn't shook at all. If she was by herself, she wouldn't dare to do this at all. But Yi-Mo was here. Yi-Mo wasn't even scared of Truth Realization State peak stage, much less this red-haired cultivator. Plus, she had seen this cultivator before, and Yi-Mo fought with him once outside Peihai City. However, Yi-Mo's power was on a completely different level from before. The beast cultivator's attention was completely on Tang Mingrao. He considered everyone else around as insects. He thought that once he came, even if Tang Mingrao didn't die in her Divine Damnation, she would be lost in the Heart Demon Tribulation. Even if she was fine for both, she would die at his hands. But now he was surprised. Even if Tang Mingrao could pass the Divine Damnation, how could she run away from him? Why did she seem so calm? Although he was Truth Realization State primary stage, that was still more powerful than her. He laughed. "You're quite calm. You probably know that it's no use worrying." At this moment, Yi-Mo said calmly, "She never considered you alive." Yu Chan laughed out loud at this. Only then did the beast cultivator notice there was Yi-Mo in them. He knew they were there before, but he wasn't interested in even looking at them. But now that he did, he immediately noticed Yi-Mo and was dazed. Then, he laughed. "It's actually you, great. He pointed at Yi-Mo. "I wanted to kill you last time, and now I meet you in the Heartless Sea again. I told you not to let me see you again. You killed so many of my Heartless Sea spirit beasts." Then, the beast cultivator's chi rose drastically, and he charged at Yi-Mo. Yi-Mo was the person he wanted to kill the most. Before he got to Yi-Mo's side, his domain expanded, and at the same time he released his Li Light dual blades. He scorned. A mere cauldron-filling state dares to copy the power of Truth Realization State. I'll let you understand what I meant last time by saying, don't let me see you again. To him, Yemo's truth realization state couldn't be more fake. The difference between cauldron-filling state and truth realization state couldn't be filled up in a short time. Yemo didn't seem to see the light dual blades and just grabbed with his hand. Zissou appeared and he copied Qixia. Last time I thought so too. Don't let me see you again. Before Qixia could react, his Zissou brought out a magnificent arc. Qixia sneered. He knew this kitchen knife was a little eerie and even broke his domain, and Yemo could also see the weakness of his domain. But this was nothing to him. The difference in power wasn't so easily overcome. Light dual blades brought two faint red rays of intense killing intent and hacked at Zissou. Clearly, Qixia wanted to smash Zissou away and use that momentum to hack Yemo into two pieces. But after only flying half the distance, Qixia noticed something wrong. His swords weren't getting faster, but slowing down instead. Suddenly, he felt the domain he expanded out also slowed down. Moments later, it started cracking and his body sunk into a swamp. He couldn't move forward in this space at all. Qixia immediately knew that he landed in Yemo's domain. His face changed immediately. Domain, great completion domain, you're really a truth realization state cultivator. Last time. Before Qixia could say Yemo was putting on an act, Zissou and his dual blades collided. The dual blades were easily knocked away, but Zissou was unaffected. The purple ray sliced across space and came above Qixia's head. Qixia was still stuck in Yemo's domain, and seeing this purple ray, there was despair in his eyes. With a splurge, blood sprayed out. This overlord of the seas didn't even last one move in Yemo's hands. Even in his death, he couldn't believe that Yemo became this strong in such a short time. Rumble Tang Mingrao just had her 6th wave of divine damnation. 9 baby arm-sized lightning bolts fell. Yemo picked up Qixia's storage ring before watching Tang Mingrao's divine damnation. This was weaker than his cauldron-filling state divine damnation. He believed Tang Mingrao would be fine. Indeed, Tang Mingrao was only lightly injured and passed the 6th wave. The next 2 waves only made her injuries a little heavier. The 9th wave completely shattered her armor and showed her bloodied white skin. Even so, Tang Mingrao still lived. Yemo stopped watching as her clothes were torn. Tang Mingrao knew this happened, but she didn't care. This was nothing compared to reaching truth realization state. Plus, she was entering heart demon tribulation. A day later, Tang Mingrao howled and changed into a new set of clothes. She had passed her heart demon tribulation and became a truth realization state cultivator. Su Jingwen and Yuchan immediately came to congratulate. Tang Mingrao nodded with excitement. Thank you. In the past, the only thing she did was cultivate and cultivate. Now that she finally reached truth realization state, she would even reach truth realization state peak stage in time. Yuchan whispered to her master, when you were having divine damnation, your clothes were torn and martial Uncle Yi left after seeing it. Tang Mingrao smiled, didn't answer. That didn't matter much to her. Her life was saved by Yemo, and this was something accidental. She said to Su Jingwen, Sister Jingwen, the spirit chi here is dense. Why don't you start divine damnation too? Su Jingwen nodded, and Yemo came out of Blue Moon. He congratulated Tang Mingrao first before setting up the formation for Su Jingwen. He even set up a few lightning attraction formations just in case. But he underestimated Su Jingwen. She wasn't the Su Jingwen who just came from Earth. 3 days later, Su Jingwen successfully reached body condensation state, and the lightning attraction formations weren't put to use at all. 6 days later, Blue Moon went into North Far State without resistance. Not a spirit beast nor beast cultivator dared to stop them. 6 days later, Blue Moon went into North Far State without resistance. Not a spirit beast nor beast cultivator dared to stop them. Tang Mingrao took Yuchan and bid farewell. 2 days later, Yemo and Su Jingwen appeared outside Peihai City. Although Yemo only spent a few months searching for Yemo, Song Yangzhu and them were already anxious. They were notified as soon as Yemo and Su Jingwen came outside Peihai City. Seeing each other, everyone rejoiced. Yimo heard that the formation forgery sect elder Li Yifeng still didn't leave Pei Hai and had been discussing formation with Jiling. Thus, he set a disaster life pill and one truth spirit pill. He wanted to give 2 pills to him when he was repairing the Pei Hai City formation in the Beast Tide, but Yimo wasn't level 9 pill king yet. Getting this, Li Yifeng finally understood why Yimo told him to come see him before he left. He was very grateful. With these 2 pills, he would be able to reach truth realization state if he cultivated well. Hearing that Yimo got the truth spirit pill, Ji Ling was preparing for divine damnation. Yimo had extreme grade spirit range, and Ji Ling was a formation grandmaster himself. Setting up a spirit gathering formation and some divine damnation defense formations were very easy. Ji Ling's cultivation talent was much weaker than Tang Mingrao. The reason he was able to reach disaster transformation state peak stage was because he was at South Peace state and the sect leader of an 8-star sect. If Ji Ling was in North Far state, it would be quite amazing if he reached body condensation state. Luckily, Yimo had a lot of truth spirit pills. Ji Ling used 3 to successfully reach truth realization state. Feeling this power, Ji Ling sighed. If it wasn't for Yimo, he would never be able to reach truth realization state his entire life. Who could afford to eat 3 truth spirit pills? No sect would give 3 truth spirit pills to one person to reach TRSS. Everyone seemed happy, but Song Yangzhu was still worried. Yimo knew she was worried about Yimo inside. This time I accidentally went a West Extreme state. When you guys settle, I'll go out and go around the entire North Far state. I'll go visit Kongyi Qianbei too. If I still can't find Yimo, I can only ask sect leader Tang to help with this. Yimo was also worried. He didn't stay long with Yimo, and they were separated for this long ago. He was truth realization state power now. It wasn't hard to search the entire North Far state. As for seeing Kongyi, it was already arranged. Kongyi said to go see him after 50 years, but Yimo's understanding of that was 50 years, so his power reached a certain level. He was now truth realization state power. He would be fine roaming the entire Luoyu continent. Song Yangzhu wanted Yimo to be faster on the search, so she resisted the urge to go out. Yimo left Pei Hai City again just to search for Yimo. With his current spirit sense, it might not cover a planet like Earth, but it was enough to cover a city or a country. 1 month later, Yimo traveled half of North Far State but still didn't find Yimo. He did see a few people from the small world, but they weren't familiar, so Yimo didn't ask much. Today, Yimo came to Gonyuan City. He came to the South Mountain Market here. His second stone stool came from here. He didn't dare to ask before, but now he wanted to ask how the stone stool came to be. Gonyuan City wasn't very prosperous, but it wasn't a small cultivation city. But when Yimo came here today, it was very tattered. It wasn't completely in ruins, but there was less than half of the cultivators before. Those cultivators who appeared on the streets seemed worried. Most of them stayed cultivating in their cultivation home. Yimo felt strange. Even if a cultivation city was to fall, it wouldn't be in just a few years. Just what happened here? There was a quite good level 6 spirit gathering formation here. This was quite attractive to low-level cultivators. Yimo stopped a golden core state who wanted to go out and saluted with his fists. "Friend, I came here 10 years ago and this place wasn't like this. What happened?" The golden core state showed an annoyed face and just wanted to reject, but he immediately found that he couldn't see through Yimo's power, so he saluted with his fists. "Friend, 5 years ago, there was this sudden gray mist in the center of the city. The mist expanded, and all the cultivators in the city all disappeared." Yimo frowned. Did no one go investigate? The golden core state immediately said, "How can there not be? There are people still searching. The white mist is very strange. It just covered the entire South Mountain Market and didn't expand." Later on, cultivators barricaded the entire market with walls in case people went in and lost their lives. Yimo asked in confusion, "You said there were people still grouping up to go in. How could they lose their lives?" The golden core state shook his head. "The mist covers the entire market, but on the 3rd night of the full moon, it would be the weakest. Many cultivators would prepare defense magic artifact and go in to search for the storage ring of the dead cultivators. In fact, many cultivators succeeded and brought out many materials in storage ring. Some even found level 7 spirit herbs. Due to this, More and more people went inside, but not many people came out. Many cultivators feared they wouldn't be able to resist the temptation, so they left. Yemo immediately thought of that valley in the herb valley, the space-devouring spirit, and the seal in the all-herb mountain ranges. Yemo subconsciously shivered. What if it was the space-devouring spirit living in the market? Friend, I'm business I need to go by, the Golden Core State said, seeing that Yemo was frowning. Yemo nodded. He just wanted to go check out the market now. Just when he wanted to turn, he heard a familiar voice. Brother Juan, we can go to the market, but my brother is heavily injured. If Brother Juan has truth recovery pill, please lend one to me. When my brother is healed, we will go together. Or you can lend me some spirit stones and I will go buy it myself. Yemo thought and remembered who this was. It was the sister Xiapinger he met when he first came from the small world to North Far State. A bleak voice sounded. Xiapinger, we already paid quite some spirit stones for your brother's injuries. What else do you want? Plus, we already agreed that you siblings will be going ahead to scout. If your brother can't go, you can do it as well. Yemo immediately thought of that timid girl. Her brother was probably Xia Zhongfei. His spirit root was quite good, wind and earth duo spirit root. He was taken by the Golden Core State Elder Han of Zhang Yuan Sword Sect as disciple. What are they doing here? Brother Fong, you can't say that. My brother was injured for the team. Plus, I never said that the team should pay for his injuries. I'm just borrowing. Xiapinger said. Yemo saw Xiapinger already. Her power didn't increase much. She was only Foundation Establishment State level 6. Her brother probably wouldn't be that much stronger. Xiapinger's voice suddenly went numb. Sorry, Brother Juan. If my brother's wounds don't heal, I won't go to South Mountain Market. If something happens to me, who would take care of my brother? Xiapinger's voice suddenly went numb. Sorry, Brother Juan. If my brother's wounds don't heal, I won't go to South Mountain Market. If something happens to me, who would take care of my brother? Brother Juan's face sunk, and he suddenly said coldly, Xiapinger, it's not up to you now. What did you and your brother say? We helped you, so you help us scout ahead. What? You want to regret on your words? Xiapinger's face looked bad, and after a long time, Brother Juan, Sister Huangbing wasn't saved and my brother was heavily injured. What do you want? Yemo looked at this Brother Juan. He was in his 40s and Foundation Establishment State peak stage. There was a man and woman next to him. They were all ferocious looking and full of killing intent. Clearly, they didn't kill just one or two people. The other two were both Foundation Establishment State peak stage. Yemo suddenly walked out to Xiapinger. Sister Pinger, what are you doing here? What happened to your brother? Brother Juan gulped down the words he was about to say and started to study Yemo. Xiapinger looked at Yemo in confusion for a long while before she said in surprise and joy, your brother Yi? Is Sister Yangzhu and Ling fine? Yemo nodded. They're fine. I'm passing by here. I didn't expect to meet you. What happened to your brother? Show me. Hearing this, Xiapinger's face saddened. My brother was beaten heavily a month ago, and he still can't even use qi to recover himself. Brother Juan was a little scared seeing that he couldn't judge Yemo's power level at all, but hearing Xiapinger's words, clearly they were friends in the past. With Xiapinger's power, what powerful friends could she connect with? Plus, if Yemo was really powerful, would he talk to low-level cultivators like Xiapinger? Thinking about this, Juan said to Yemo, friend, Xiapinger has some business with us now. If you want to find her, come a few days later. Yemo glanced coldly at this Foundation Establishment State man and ignored him. He asked Xiapinger, Sister Pinger, what is going on? Xiapinger thought Yemo was Golden Core State cultivator and quickly said, some things happened in the sect, so brother, Sister Huangbing and I left there. We came to Ganyuan City. As soon as we got to the gates, we saw a notice saying that they need 10 Foundation Establishment State cultivators to go search an ancient ruin. It didn't say which ancient ruin, but it said the participants will not regret it. Xiapinger's eyes went red. Many people saw the notice, but no one said anything. Sister Ping said it might be a scam. If it was real, it wouldn't be written out. However, those words offended someone. Yemo said that's very true. Xiapinger said, yes, we thought it was fine, but immediately, people said that she cannot go, but she can't undermine their notice in front of other cultivators. We apologized immediately, but that person told Sister Huangping to go inside to apologize. After she went inside, she never came out again. Later on, brother and I found out that all those who said bad things about the notice were locked inside a prison. When we were discussing to rescue her, Wanji said they could help, and they've helped more than once. Yemo scanned the three and asked, how did they say they were going to rescue? Xiaopinger pointed at Brother Wan. He said they had a squad in Ganyuan City, and usually, people would give them some face. If he took his squad, and we brought 10k spirit stones, she can be saved. Xiaopinger's tone grew agitated here. My brother and I gathered the spirit stones and went with them to find Sister Ping. They took our spirit stones and said it wasn't enough. Someone in the squad went to argue, and they attacked. My brother was heavily injured. Hearing this, Yemo sneered. Was it only your brother who got injured in the squad? Xiaopinger nodded and said, yes, I think. She didn't say it, but Yemo knew. She began to suspect, but she was by herself and didn't dare to say it out. Yemo turned around and sneered, nice trap. You left Xiaopinger healthy because she still has some use, right? Brother Wan frowned. I don't know what you're talking about. Yemo sneered. Do I need you to understand? Then he flung over a wind blade. Seeing this, Brother Wan almost laughed out. He thought Yemo was a golden core state cultivator, but now he was clearly a trash cultivator. But moments later, he couldn't laugh anymore. He felt he couldn't move at all, and could only watch the wind blade slice him from head down. Blood splashed out, and Wan fell down in disbelief. The other two and Xiaopinger were dazed. After a long while, Xiaopinger stuttered, Brother Yi, you killed him? The other two woke up and didn't dare to ask anything and tried to retreat. Yemo didn't answer Xiaopinger and looked coldly at the two. If you dare to retreat one more step, I'll kill both of you. I believe Xiaopinger would know where Huang Ping is locked. Do you want to explain things to me and take me there, or keep retreating and wait for my wind blade? Yemo realized why there were less and less cultivators in this city. Other than the mist, scam organizations like this could exist publicly. The middle-aged man shivered. Qian Bei. Wan Bei will say everything. Hu Shu, you don't want to live. The female cultivator said, but suddenly felt her head go cold. Yemo didn't say anything, and just looked at the middle-aged man. The man didn't dare to hide anything and said shakily, it has nothing to do with us. The Ganyuan City C family wants us to do this. They told us to do this to cultivators who come here. We don't know why, but they want Clean Foundation Establishment State female cultivator to be sent to the Wan Estate and let them eat a few pills. Then we will send them to the mist at the full moon and let out their essence blood in the mist. Yemo sneered. I was thinking how 3 insects got extreme grade spirit artifact armor. So this means you have quite some blood in your hands? The middle-aged man quickly waved his hand. No, Qian Bei, I rarely kill. It's all Wanji and Chashu Fa. I'm just responsible for removing the mist. Yemo scanned his spirit sense inside this man's body. There were gray mist inside. In some time, this man's meridians would crippled. Yemo sneered but didn't tell him and asked coldly, where's Huang Ping? Xiaopinger's face went pale. So the pills you gave us were those pills. You want to take us to the mist too in a few days, right? Hushu nodded timidly. Yes. Huang Ping is still in the C family. When we leave, we will take her from the C family. Yemo turned to Xiaopinger. Your brother is fine. Let's go see family first. Yemo said coldly at Hushu, lead the way. The biggest family here was the Sii family. Soon, they arrived at the door, but the scene made even Yemo's skin crawl. In front of them were mutilated cultivators. The scene was so bloody and unsightly. Even if Yemo was going to annihilate the Sii family, it wouldn't be this bloody. He would at most turn them into dust with a few lightning swords. In front of them were mutilated cultivators. The scene was so bloody and unsightly. Even if Yemo was going to annihilate the Sii family, it wouldn't be this bloody. He would at most turn them into dust with a few lightning swords. Most of the bodies had the word Sii on it. This wasn't it. The hall of the Sii family was completely destroyed. It was just a pile of rubble. Yemo scanned with spirit sense, and there were dead people everywhere. Only did he reach the innermost yard was his spirit sense blocked by formation. This is the Sii family? Yemo asked coldly. Hushu dazed for a long time before answering with a pale face. Yes, Qian Bei. This is the Sii family. Yemo said to Xiaopinger. Let's go in and see. Xiaopinger nodded and carefully followed Yimo into the broken door. Hu Shu didn't follow them, and after Yimo and Xiaopinger disappeared in the estate, he quickly left. Only 2 years later did he realize why Yimo left him alone. He was corroded by the gray mist and turned to dust. Would Sister Huang Ping have already been taken away? Xiaopinger asked nervously. Yimo shook his head. No, SII family can find plenty of female cultivator who aren't very high talented. If the SII family enemy is here, they wouldn't take away Huang Ping. Yimo walked to the defense formation at the backyard and casually threw out 2 formation flags. One secret door appeared, and Yimo just walked in. There was a surprised exclamation when Yimo and Xiaopinger came in. Yimo also saw the person inside immediately. There were 2 women. The older one was cauldron-filling state level 7. The younger one was hollow spirit state level 4. Both of them were very pretty, but the hollow spirit state girl was even better. This made Yimo think of the green robe girl in West Extreme State. She was also extremely beautiful. The difference was that this young girl had a faint coldness and killing chi. Your formation skills and stealth cultivation method are quite nice. I believe you're the sect members of a big sect here. The cauldron-filling state level 7 scanned Yimo and then Xiaopinger and asked. Yimo felt the killing chi on them and knew that they were responsible for the slaughter outside. They killed people but did so in such a gruesome manner. Clearly they didn't think of others as living beings. Xiaopinger cowered behind Yimo. Yimo didn't answer her words. He scanned another place with a spirit sense barrier. He threw a metamorphic spirit sense blade over and immediately broke inside. He saw 3 pale-faced female cultivators, including Huang Ping inside. Where is Jiang Yi? Yimo subconsciously asked Xiaopinger. Xiaopinger said, Martial brother Jiang Yi lost his life in a mission trying to protect Sister Huang Ping. She met us on the way, so we left together. Yimo sighed. Jiang Yi was too devoted to this Huang Ping. He lost an arm for her before, and now he lost his life. Seeing Yimo ignoring her, the cauldron-filling state female cultivator's face sunk, and she sneered as though she was about to attack Yimo. But at this time, a shocking explosion sounded in the depth of the backyard. She quickly pulled the young girl and darted over. Yimo ignored the 2 and took Xiaopinger to the restriction and waved his hand. Immediately the restriction was gone. Sister Ping. Xiaopinger saw the dazed Huang Ping. The other 2 Foundation Establishment State female cultivators were also very dazed. Hearing Xiaopinger's voice, Huang Ping reacted and looked worried. Pinger, why are you here too? Xiaopinger pointed at Yimo. I met Brother Yi at Ganyuan City, and he came with me to save you. At this moment, Huang Ping finally recognized Yimo and wanted to get up and thank him. Yimo waved his hand. He scanned with spirit sense and knew there was poison in her body. Yimo took out 3 pills and let the 3 have them. After that, the other 2 thanked him greatly and left, but Yimo gave a storage ring to Xiaopinger. There are pills for your brother inside and some Foundation Establishment State cultivation pills. Save your brother and split the things inside and leave this city. Xiaopinger subconsciously asked, What about you, Brother Yi? I have some things to do. It's not convenient to bring you guys. If you guys have nowhere to go, you can go to Peihai City. Peihai MOU is my business. Go with my jade card. Yimo gave a jade card to Xiaopinger. He still needed to find Yimo and go to the South Mountain Market. Then Brother Yi, we'll be leaving first. Xiaopinger knew Yimo had his own business. Yimo nodded and said, Your brother will recover immediately after eating that pill. Leave Ganyu City immediately. This isn't a good place. Yimo felt this city was strange. Yes, Brother Yi. The 2 agreed and left. Then, Yimo chased over to the 2 female cultivators from before. Seconds later, Yimo appeared before a defense formation. He threw out 2 formation flags and walked in. This was a huge hall, and he saw the 2 girls from before. The only thing was that the cauldron-filling state level 7 female cultivator had already lost an arm. The hollow spirit state girl held the cauldron-filling state female cultivator with a pale face but stared closely at a sacrificial stage. There was a white-haired and white-bearded man. He looked very young but seemed very old. He was disaster transformation state level 1, but his chi wasn't too stable. Clearly, he only reached this state less than a month ago. Judging from his messy and blood chi, he probably cultivated a cruel cultivation method. The white-haired man seemed a little bewildered that he couldn't see Yemo's power. He just scanned Yemo and looked at the female cultivator. Very well, you arrived perfectly. If it wasn't for your arm, it would be very hard for me to finish cultivation. I thank you. Then, he licked his lips. The reason I could reach disaster transformation state is because of the girl who came with you guys. The fresh and clean taste. I've been longing for that for a month. Today I can finally taste it again. You annihilated my SII family, and now you will offer yourself. It's a worthy deal. I'll kill this insect first. Then he grabbed over at Yemo. Yemo sneered. A mere disaster transformation state cultivator dared to attack him like this and pretended to use a truth realization state cultivation essence giant hand? Yemo sneered. A mere disaster transformation state cultivator dared to attack him like this and pretended to use a truth realization state cultivation essence giant hand? Only truth realization states could condense cultivation essence into a material cultivation essence giant hand. This disaster transformation state level 1 clearly couldn't do that, but he was using some special cultivation method to extend his hand and grab Yemo. Yemo had a strange feeling. It was like watching a monkey put on a show. Yemo sighed. Power was really everything in the cultivation realm. The disaster transformation state suddenly stopped his hand and thought of a very important thing. How did you come in before? His formation was barely a level 7 defense formation. The female cultivator could force her way in because she was cauldron-filling state level 7. Yemo was this young. How could he get in? Was he a formation great master? No matter what, he had to ask this. Yemo ignored him and didn't stop. He walked towards where the disaster transformation state was. Seeing that Yemo dared to ignore him like this, the disaster transformation state was furious. He reached out his hand wanting to grab Yemo by the neck and fling him up, but his face soon turned to terror. He found that his hand couldn't move at all. He instantly knew things weren't good. He was disaster transformation state, but he knew what domains were. He knew very clear that he was in Yemo's domain. Yemo could kill him like a chicken. He no longer had the expression of a powerful being. There was just terror and worry. He didn't think Yemo was using a stealth cultivation method anymore. Yemo was a truth realization state cultivator. Sweat trickled down his forehead and back uncontrollably. The female cultivator didn't notice this and said coldly, "Sai, let us go and things will be over. Otherwise, after I die, the Chu family will annihilate your soul." Yemo wanted to laugh. Was this woman dumb? Would the disaster transformation state let her go due to that? Clearly she had zero experience in the cultivation realm. But then, she noticed something was wrong. The disaster transformation state cultivator ignored her words and his hands were frozen in midair. What was this guy doing? Then, she noticed his face was full of horror and sweat. Before she could think of why, Yemo's real cultivation essence giant hand reached over and easily held him up in the air like a chicken. The female cultivator and the young girl completely froze. "You're a truth realization state Qianbei?" the female cultivator subconsciously asked. If it wasn't some truth realization state Qianbei, how could he easily grab a disaster transformation state cultivator using a cultivation essence giant hand? Yemo ignored her and grabbed the disaster transformation state by the neck before throwing him on the ground. "What is the mist in the South Mountain Market? Did you bring it here?" The disaster transformation state cultivator's bones were shattering, but he didn't dare to resist. The disaster transformation state really didn't understand why there was such a master in Gonyuan City. He had never heard of truth realization state masters in North Far State. He thought he could do whatever he wanted after reaching disaster transformation state in North Far State, but now he knew how unlucky he was. He didn't even consolidate his power and had offended a truth realization state cultivator. He even said he would crush him. Seeing that he didn't answer him, Yemo released a blue flame. "Do you want me to burn your essence spirit with heaven flame?" Seeing this, the disaster transformation state screamed in terror. Blue color mist lotus heart fire. He was a disaster transformation state cultivator, but he spent almost every living moment in cultivation. Almost all of the SII family's resources were gathered on him, and yet he offended a truth realization state with heaven flame. I'll say it. A few years ago, I got a ring in the Long Grave Valley. There was a heaven grade level 9 cultivation method and a seed. The female cultivator almost exclaimed, a heaven grade level 9 cultivation method. The entire cultivation realm might not even have one, but he got one. Yemo didn't say anything. A heaven grade level 9 cultivation method was indeed one of a kind, but it was trash compared to his 3 birth chant. Seeing that Emo's face was calm upon hearing this, the white-haired cultivator was shook even more. He thought Emo would show greed after he said it, and he might be able to use it live. He could only continue. That cultivation method said the essence blood of clean female cultivators is needed to begin cultivation. Essence blood that is tainted by space devouring gray mist is the best. The seed is the starting seed of the space devouring gray mist. If I plant it in a place with many people, 10 years later it can be my place of cultivation resource. Then, Emo asked coldly, does that cultivation method have the ability to devour space? The SII cultivator shivered. He didn't know why Emo would know, but he quickly said, yes, it has that effect. Emo said calmly, attack me with full power. Huh. The disaster transformation state was overjoyed, but he stuttered. Qianbei, Wanbei doesn't dare to. Emo sneered. 3 seconds. If you don't, then you won't need to again. Hearing this, the disaster transformation state flung himself up from the ground without hesitation. He raised his 2 hands, and after pulling back, he opened his mouth to bite. It was a small mouth, but using this cultivation method, it seemed to turn into a huge mouth. With a crack, the calm space suddenly started to have ripples as though something was being bitten. Emo felt a huge suction force pulling him into the disaster transformation state's mouth. Emo's face sunk. He was certain that what he had encountered before was this space-devouring cultivation method. But this disaster transformation state was too weak. Knowing this, Emo didn't have the mood to keep watching this show. He released his cultivation essence giant hand and easily grabbed the disaster transformation state cultivator. Before he could beg for mercy, Mist Lotus Heart Fire already turned the cultivator into dust. When the disaster transformation state cultivator had completely disappeared, the female cultivator reacted and looked at Emo in disbelief and shock. She bowed with the young girl. North Far State Chu families Wanbei Chu Yun and niece Chu Yulong greet Qianbei. Please forgive us for offending Qianbei before. The female cultivator was very depressed. There were few high-level cultivators in North Far State. Cauldron-filling state wasn't that powerful, but it was quite hard to encounter someone stronger than her. Today, however, she encountered 2 and lost an arm. Emo ignored her and scanned the hall with his spirit sense. He was certain there was nothing else here. However, the female cultivator said she was from the Chu family. Emo ignored her and scanned the hall with his spirit sense. He was certain there was nothing else here. However, the female cultivator said she was from the Chu family. This reminded him of Chu Shaoi at West Extreme State's Heaven Domain. His jade slip said North Far State Chu Shaoi. Thinking about this, Emo suddenly asked, your surname is Chu, do you know Chu Shaoi? Hearing this, the female cultivator bowed again. So Qianbei has heard of ancestor. My ancestor is Chu Shaoi. Emo sighed. She really was a descendant of Chu Shaoi. It seemed Chu family loved that they were from North Far State, but the spirit chi here wasn't dense. However, he could give his remains to her. However, Chu Yun had killed a lot and was very gruesome. Emo didn't really like her. Emo just wanted to take out Chu Shaoi's coffin when Chu Yun asked respectfully, Qianbei is from North Far State? Emo didn't like her, but on her ancestor's account he nodded. Yes, I'm a cultivator of North Far State. Hearing this, Chu Yun said joyfully, we North Far State finally have a second truth realization state cultivator. This is great. What is your name, Qianbei? Emo frowned and didn't speak. He didn't like her, so he didn't want to be connected to her. He would leave the remains to her and go do what he needs to do. Chu Yun noticed Emo's dislike of her and bowed again. Qianbei might think I'm too murderous and gruesome, but Wanbei had no choice. Please understand. We the Chu family are the guardian family of North Far State. As long as North Far State exists for one day, we will protect North Far State with full power. Our ancestor Chu Xiaoyi's power was heavenly, and he wasn't in a rush to attain immortal ascension, just so he could protect North Far State. Ever since our ancestor disappeared, his descendants didn't give up the protection of North Far State. We came to this city for the South Mountain Market. Hearing this, Yimo realized why they kept saying North Far State Chu family. So they were the guardians of North Far State. Realizing this, Yimo had respect for them. Seeing Yimo's face ease down, Chu Yun breathed easy and continued. Sii family is the scum of the cultivation realm. They slaughtered countless innocent cultivators and used their essence blood to cultivate evil cultivation methods. I came here to annihilate them this time and investigate the South Mountain Market. I didn't expect that this time a disciple of mine was taken by the Sii family and lost her life in this city. Yimo looked at her in confusion. Since you're attacking the Sii family, why did you bring a hollow spirit state disciple? Chu Yun blushed. Qian Bei probably heard of Kong Yi, right? Yimo nodded. My ancestor Chu Xiaoyi had two disciples. One was Chu Xian, who stayed to protect North Far State, and another, Chu Jiyu, was taken by my ancestor to South Peace State. Chu Xian left after my ancestor disappeared due to some things and also disappeared. Kong Yi is Chu Xian's personal disciple, Chu Yun said. Yimo finally realized that Chu Jiyu, whose fame stayed in South Peace State for 10,000 years, was Chu Xiaoyi's disciple. Chun Yun sighed. Kong Yi is my martial ancestor, and he's the only truth realization state cultivator of North Far State. His time is about to be up, so he's finding a new cultivator to guard North Far State for him. Thus, he goes around everywhere wanting to find a prodigious cultivator. Years passed, and he had no progress until 10 years ago. He found a cultivator called Yimo. Hearing this, Yimo's face wasn't too natural. Chu Yun continued. Kong Yi martial ancestor was just trying his luck and had a 100-year deal with Yimo. He thought that if Yimo could reach body condensation state in 100 years, he would take Yimo to be his disciple. However, that Yimo was extremely absurd. He reached cauldron-filling state tertiary stage in 10 years or so. So, martial ancestor changed his mind and arranged 50 years with Yimo. He wasted quite some power in the beast tide, and his little time left was greatly reduced. He wanted to give Yimo some important things when he's about to pass away. Yimo was shook. No wonder Kong Yi didn't dare to fight Qixia. He might use up all his life in that battle. I wasn't supposed to tell Qian Bei this, but Qian Bei is the only truth realization state cultivator of our North Far State. I'm afraid that Kong Yi Qian Bei doesn't know this, so I plead that Qian Bei would visit Kong Yi ancestor before he passes away, Chu Yun said. Yimo nodded. I was planning to visit Kong Yi Qian Bei anyways. Hearing Yimo call Kong Yi Qian Bei, Chu Yun was surprised and joyful. One truth realization state cultivator calling another truth realization state cultivator Qian Bei could only be out of pure respect, no matter the age difference. She bowed and thanked him. Thank you, Qian Bei. I don't know your name yet. Seeing that Yimo didn't answer, she immediately knew Yimo didn't want to say it, so she said. Wan Bei was too rude. The reason Wan Bei brought Yulan and my disciple is to go visit Pil King Yimo at Peihai City. I want my niece to be a disciple of Pil King Yimo, so I brought them out. Yimo felt awkward. He didn't expect this young girl wanted to be his disciple. He was definitely not going to take this disciple. If he did, he would have one extra burden. How could he do that? Thinking about this, Yimo could only say, Yimo isn't at Peihai City and he won't take in disciples. You don't need to go. Qian Bei knows Yimo? Chu Yun asked in excitement. Yimo nodded helplessly. I've been to Peihai City. Yimo left as soon as he got there, and it's unknown when he will be back. It's said that he's not good at teaching disciples, so you guys don't need to go. By the way, you don't need to go check out the mist either. It's very powerful. I will go see it. You guys can go back first. Yes, Qian Bei, Chu Yun said. Yimo breathed easy and quickly took out a jade coffin. Chu Xiaoyi Qian Bei has unfortunately died. I saw his remains not long ago, so I brought them back. Since you're his descendant, you can have this. Huh. Chu Yun and Chu Yulan were dazed for a long time. Yimo passed the jade slip to her. and she realized her ancestor didn't immortal ascension but had instead died. Moments later, Chu Yun and Chu Yulan both cried over the coffin. Emo sighed. He knew her feelings. Their utmost sacred belief had collapsed. His distaste towards her was gone. No matter what, as a guardian family, the Chu family deserved respect. Chu Yun and Chu Yulan cried for a long time before walking to Emo. This time, she kneeled down. Thank you, Qian Bei, for bringing back ancestors' remains. Emo quickly pulled the two up and changed the subject. Do you know where Chu Xian went? Chu Yun nodded. Yes, Wan Bei knows a little. When our ancestor left for a long time, Chu Xian told Kong Yi that he would be going out and come back soon. According martial ancestor Kong Yi, Chu Xian went to enforce a seal, but he never came back like ancestor. Emo sighed. He was certain that Chu Xian died because the spirit body Shui Yufeng didn't see the next person to take his shift. Emo thought of the half-necklace and took out that white jade box immediately and gave it to Chu Yun. Your ancestor valued it a lot, take it too. I didn't touch anything inside your ancestor's storage ring, but I used a few immortal crystals. If I get the opportunity, I'll give them back, but if I can't get any more, then sorry. Emo thought of the half-necklace and took out that white jade box immediately and gave it to Chu Yun. Your ancestor valued it a lot, take it too. I didn't touch anything inside your ancestor's storage ring, but I used a few immortal crystals. If I get the opportunity, I'll give them back, but if I can't get any more, then sorry. Emo said this, but he didn't feel guilty at all. He found the storage ring. Even if he didn't give it back to the Chu family, it was his right. Plus, he sent back Chu Xiaoyi's remains. The reason he said he would give back immortal crystals to the Chu family was because he really respected someone like Chu Xiaoyi. Chu Xiaoyi's immortal crystals played a deciding factor for him reaching truth realization state. Otherwise, he was at most disaster transformation state primary stage, or not even disaster transformation state. Hearing immortal crystals, Chu Yun's hands shook, but she bowed. The Chu family is already very grateful that Qian Bei brought ancestors' remains back. How do we dare to let Qian Bei give back immortal crystals? Emo nodded. Chu Yun thought Emo didn't really mean it too. They were really had to get, and even if Emo got immortal crystals, who would want to give them away? Emo said casually, I looked at the jade box. It's half a necklace, but it's well kept. It probably means a lot to your ancestor. Hearing this, Chu Yun's face looked weird, and she opened it immediately. When she saw the half necklace, she immediately shut the jade box and gave it back to Emo. Qian Bei, this necklace belongs to ancestor. Wan Bei can't take it. Seeing this, Emo asked in confusion, why? It belongs to your ancestor? You can't take it? Am I supposed to take it? Chu Yun's face was awkward. After a while she said, when ancestor left, ancestor's wife thought ancestor went to find another person, so she left a family law. All those who come from the Chu family must kill the woman who wears this half necklace. Ancestor's wife left an image of the necklace, and it's the necklace in Qian Bei's hands. No one in the Chu family dares to go against it, so Wan Bei doesn't dare to bring it back. Seeing this, Emo realized that Chu Xiaoyi had a wife but had another woman. That woman wasn't on good terms with his wife, and their conflict was great. Realizing this, Emo put away the jade box. It didn't take up much space in his storage ring, so he didn't need to make it hard for Chu Yun. Emo said, in that case, I'll be going. Seeing this, Chu Yun quickly said, Qian Bei, Chu family doesn't have a lot of people now, and it's hard for us to protect North Far State. Kong Yi ancestor is near his death. Qian Bei is the only truth realization state cultivator of North Far State. Please don't forget to go Dangling. Kong Yi ancestor is living there alone. Emo nodded. Give me a location later. I'll go there, but I'm not the only truth realization state of North Far State. Jade Woman sect's leader Tang Mingrao also reached truth realization state. I heard Shan Di also reached truth realization state, but I don't know where he is. What? Sect leader Tang reached truth realization state? How can that be? Shan Di also broke through too? Chu Yun asked in disbelief. Emo nodded. Truth realization state is nothing. To be able to reach cauldron filling state level 7 in North Far State, It'll just be a matter of time before you reach truth realization state. Don't admire others. Plus, guarding North Far State isn't only Chu family's job. I think you should go do what you need to do, but if you can't do it alone, ask for help from fellow North Far State cultivators. No need to take it all on your family. Hearing this, Chu Yun seemed sad and shook her head. Thank you, Qin Bei, but Wan Bei knows I will never be able to reach truth realization state. If I'm lucky, I can reach disaster transformation state. Are you lacking spirit stones or pills? The Chu family guarded the North Far State for more than 10,000 years. If they were lacking on cultivation resources, he was willing to help. Chu Yun nodded. Yes, Qin Bei, the Chu family is wealthy, but after all these years we don't have much left. We don't even have enough spirit stones, much less pills. It's impossible. Plus, there is no one in North Far State who can concoct truth spirit pills and disaster life pills. Yimo nodded and took out a spirit card and 3 jade bottles. Your Chu family did a lot of things for the North Far State. I also benefited from your ancestor. There are 100 million spirit stones here and a few pills. Go use them. I believe with your talent and these pills you can reach truth realization state in 2 to 3 centuries. As for guarding North Far State, I don't think there's a need to. 100 million spirit stones? Chu Yun's hand shook and pushed the card back to Yimo. Qin Bei, I can't take that many spirit stones. Yimo took out a few more speechlessly and said, I have a lot, just go use them. Chu Yun and Chu Yulan's eyes were spasming. This truth realization state Qin Bei was too wealthy. When Chu Yun opened the bottles, she almost dropped them. She saw the legendary disaster transformation pill, truth spirit pill, and disaster will pill. They were all precious amongst precious pills. They were all heaven grade level 8 or level 9 pills. Chu Yun knew these pills were more valuable than the 100 million spirit stones, but she couldn't give them up. Yimo knew what she thought and said casually, Don't worry. I took the immortal crystals of Chu family. I made the pills myself. Go use them. Qin Bei is a level 9 pill king? Chu Yun was more shocked. Yimo smiled. Yes, I'm going. You don't need to go to Pei High City. Go back and cultivate. Give me the location of Danling. Yes, Qin Bei, Chu Yun answered, but the shock was still in heart. A level 9 pill king. She heard Kong Yi ancestor say that there was no level 9 pill king in the entire Luo Yu continent. She didn't know when this Qin Bei would go to ancestor Kong Yi, but she had to go wait there. Their conversation was not to be missed. If Yimo knew what she thought, he would go visit Kong Yi immediately. He would expose himself. When they were about to leave, Chu Yun wanted to ask Yimo to take Chu Yulan as disciple many times, but she couldn't say it. Seeing the two leave, Yimo got on Blue Moon and headed to the South Mountain Market. Auntie, is there a way to repair your arm? Chu Yulan asked worriedly. Chu Yun sighed. Today I realized that even in North Far State there are many powerful people, but they don't come out usually like the Chu family. If it wasn't for that Qin Bei, we would be dead. Fortune and calamity are entwined. I lost an arm, but I gained the possibility of reaching truth realization state. Chu Yulan nodded, but she asked, Auntie, that truth realization state Qin Bei really doesn't look old. How is he so powerful? Chu Yun thought before answering, fate is really hard to predict. Just like you reached hollow spirit state level 4 at younger than 30. Kong Yi ancestor said that this was considered to be prodigy amongst prodigies in the entire Luo Yu continent. However, if you didn't eat that 9-color lotus, you wouldn't be where you are now. How do you know that truth realization state Qin Bei doesn't have such fortune? Chu Yun thought before answering, fate is really hard to predict. Just like you reached hollow spirit state level 4 at younger than 30. Kong Yi ancestor said that this was considered to be prodigy amongst prodigies in the entire Luo Yu continent. However, if you didn't eat that 9-color lotus, you wouldn't be where you are now. How do you know that truth realization state Qin Bei doesn't have such fortune? Chu Yulan asked. Auntie, you mean that Qin Bei indeed isn't old, but he has had fortune like me, so he can reach truth realization state at such a young age? Chu Yun shook her head. I don't know if he's young or not, but to be able to easily take out disaster will pill and truth spirit pill, he clearly has had absurd fortune. Otherwise, no matter how talented he is, He can't become a pill king without spirit herbs for practice, especially a level 9 pill king. Since he has that many spirit herbs for practice to reach level 9 pill king, then it's normal if he has spirit herbs to improve his spirit root. She continued, that truth realization state Qianbei wasn't surprised to see your power. It means either he has seen too many like you, or he is such a prodigy himself. Ani, should we still go to Pei Hai City? Chu Yulan asked. No, let's go to Ancestor Kongyi. If that truth realization state Qianbei is going there, I plan to beg him to take you in as disciple. Are you willing? Chu Yun asked. Huh? Chu Yulan asked in surprise. Didn't Ancestor say I can be Yi Mo's disciple? Isn't it bad if I switch now? Chu Yun rolled her eyes. That's if you already are Yi Mo's disciple, but Yi Mo doesn't know we're going to Pei Hai City yet. Plus, even if we want to, we don't know if he wants to. Just tell me if you're willing. I will tell Ancestor about the rest. Of course I'm willing, Chu Yulan said without hesitation. Who wouldn't want to be the disciple of a truth realization state who is also a level 9 pill king? At this moment, Yi Mo was silently standing outside the South Mountain Market. A few years ago it was very busy, but now it was so quiet that even the sounds of insects were gone. There was just gray mist. Yi Mo looked at this and knew it was the same as the mist in the Herb Valley. But Yi Mo felt this mist was much weaker than the other one. His power was also much higher than before, so he didn't fear this mist at all. Shadowless was also much stronger than before, and Yi Mo wondered if he was still scared of this mist. Thinking about this, Yi Mo threw out Shadowless. Shadowless clearly knew this mist and flew towards it without hesitation. It opened its mouth and the mist gathered flowing into its mouth. Yi Mo knew that the mist was powerful, but it was only formed not long ago, and there wasn't much spirit chi supporting it here. There were still a few days before full moon, but there were fearless cultivators watching on the side. Yi Mo ignored them and walked into the mist. Those watching were dazed. This was the first time they saw someone walk into the mist not on a full moon. Coming in, Yi Mo immediately felt the mist wanted to suck his essence blood. He finally understood why those who walked in would turn into bones. Their essence blood and flesh was all being sucked away. Yi Mo saw Shadowless devouring happily and waved his hand, bringing it over unhappily. He knew that with this speed, half a month wasn't enough to devour it all. Yi Mo just waved out Mist Lotus Heart Fire and used Heaven Flame 9 Suns. With this, an aqua sun hung in the air above the market. The mist seemed to begin to worry, but before it could flee, the aqua sun shot out countless beams that covered the entire mist. Sizzle, the mist seemed to melt like snow. Those cultivators watching outside looked dazedly as the mist began to clear and that sun hung high in the air. They just realized that the young cultivator who went in wasn't retarded but a powerful being. He didn't come for wealth. He came to annihilate the mist. Yi Mo breathed easy. He was scared that Heaven Flame 9 Suns wouldn't be able to annihilate it, and he would have to waste time letting Shadowless devour it. He had an uncomfortable feeling not removing the mist. Before he could breathe easy, he had an extremely bad sensation. It was silent killing intent. Without hesitation, Yi Mo extended out his domain and the octagonal cauldron hung above his hand. There was a hollow feeling and Yi Mo found his domain seemed weakened. Then, that weakened part of his domain disappeared out of thin air. This was Space Devourer, but this was far weaker than the Space Devourer of the Herb Valley. This couldn't even devour his domain. His domain reached out again, and Yi Mo let out Zisu. Yi Mo immediately felt that being wanted to keep devouring his domain, but couldn't do so anymore. This was the first time Yi Mo saw this phantom. He frowned. It looked too revolting. It was like a caterpillar, but much larger. It was more than 10 meters long, and there were dense antennae everywhere. It also had 9 necks, but only 1 head. This was because the other 8 necks didn't have a head. The only head had 2 thin, triangular eyes that stared at Yi Mo hatefully. Yi Mo thought of the legendary 9-headed bug. If this thing grew out all of its heads, wouldn't it be a 9-headed bug? Without hesitation, Yi Mo slashed out with Zisu. A purple beam flashed. The bug looked scared, but it couldn't run away. With a sizzle, the purple beam sliced that head in half. A putrid smell came out. The blood was gray. A black thing flew out of the bug's body wanting to escape, but Emo immediately let out Lightning Sword. Lightning Sword flashed, and the black thing was disintegrated. At this moment, the market started to show slowly. The busy shops and prosperous streets were now ruins and filled with bones. Emo took back his heaven flame. Emo scanned out his spirit sense, and there was nothing else but ruins. Emo shook his head and looked at the disgusting bug. Emo found that he didn't know this thing at all. At this moment, an extremely fast figure appeared in his spirit sense. It flew towards Emo, but he didn't move. He knew this person. This is a nine-headed void-devouring bug, also called void-devouring yin. It also has saliva that is one of the most poisonous things in the cultivation realm. If you were touched by it, it would be almost impossible to save you. A familiar voice sounded. Emo saluted with his fists. I didn't expect to meet sect leader Tang here. What a coincidence. Tang Mingrao smiled and shook her head. I came to find you. What do you need me for, sect leader Tang? Emo asked in confusion. What do you need me for, sect leader Tang? Emo asked in confusion. Tang Mingrao said dejectedly, I heard of Chindia's whereabouts. I was going to find her. I think I should tell you about it. Emo frowned. Where is she? Ao Chindai wanted to ambush him and annihilate Mou. If he finds her, he wouldn't let her off. She's probably in 5-star sect Dual Heart Valley. Tang Mingrao said dejectedly. Ao Chindai had been in her sect for 20 or so years. There were some feelings. She wanted to know if she was possessed before or after she came into her sect. How do you know? Emo asked in confusion, but Tang Mingrao just sighed and didn't answer. Emo knew this was something private, so he didn't ask. Things here are done. I'll go with sect leader Tang to Dual Heart Valley. Tang Mingrao nodded. By the way, sect leader Tang, you know this thing? Emo pointed at the gray body. Tang Mingrao immediately replied, that's right, I know it. It's the most terrifying bug in the cultivation realm, called nine-headed void-devouring bug. On the rare spirit bug ranking, some people rank it as first, but some rank another spirit bug as first. There's this saying, not a spirit bug, not an immortal, not number 1 shadowless worm. Not a spirit bug, but an immortal, nine-headed void-devouring bug won't be number 2. Emo dazed. He heard of the first part. It was talking about his shadowless? Did Tang Mingrao know of shadowless origin? She saw shadowless attack once. Does she know he had it? Then he looked at her expression, but she didn't seem to know he had shadowless. Emo thought and felt it was natural. Shadowless attacked quickly each time. Before she could lock on with her spirit, since shadowless was taken back. Emo asked again. Sect leader Tang, what does the saying mean? Tang Mingrao explained, there's this most powerful thing in the cultivation realm. It's like a bug but not a bug. It's called shadowless devouring worm. The place it came from is very mysterious. No one knows. It's not even the immortal realm. But the shadowless worm can't be born in the cultivation realm. However, it can dominate the cultivation realm. It's said that shadowless worms appear in the mortal realms that doesn't support cultivation. It is born in pairs of eggs. Only very powerful beings can put shadowless worm eggs into the mortal realm to hatch. This appeared in the cultivation realm and was very powerful. Cultivation realm cultivators thought this was a new breed of spirit bug, but then they found that even the most powerful spirit bug had a huge difference to shadowless devouring worm, so they didn't list shadowless on there. Emo nodded. Emo even suspected that Chu Juyu brought shadowless to Earth, but it was unverifiable. Tang Mingrao pointed at the dead bug body. This bug is very scary. It's the number 1 powerful bug of the cultivation realm. Even immature shadowless bug fears this thing. It's said this bug came from the immortal realm. Even in the immortal realm, high-level 9-headed void-devouring bug are very scary. But soon, people found that 9-headed void-devouring bug was countless times stronger than spirit bugs ranked after it. They weren't even comparable. Meanwhile, shadowless took a long time to mature and was far from a match for 9-headed void-devouring bug before maturing. Thus came the second part of the saying. The 9-headed void-devouring bug wasn't treated as a spirit bug too. Tang Mingrao took out a jade slip and said, I knew from this jade slip. Strictly speaking, 9-headed void-devouring bug isn't a spirit bug. It formed with a human soul attached to it. Hearing this, he believed it. He had long been suspecting this spirit mist and space devouring things were created by cultivators. Reading the Jade Slip, Yemo noticed it introduced things like the Thing, but Thing was more focused on spirit herb, and Ors while this Jade Slip was focused on spirit bugs and spirit beast. Soon, Yemo found Nine-Headed Void Devouring Bug. Nine-Headed Void Devouring Bug, also called Void Devouring Yin, is a bug fed with cultivator soul. It can devour space, and its saliva can corrode everything. The cultivator breeding this bug need to separate his soul into 10 or more pieces depending on the strength of his soul. One piece would be the main body and the other would be the clone soul bodies. Each clone soul would control a nine-headed void devouring bug to grow up. When they all mature, the main body would bring the nine-headed void devouring bug together. He would place the 9 soul clones together, and they would merge automatically, becoming a true 9-headed void devouring bug. If there were more than 9 clones, then the extra ones would be devoured. When the 9-headed void devouring bug fused together 9 souls, it would have 9 heads and become invincible in the cultivation realm. Even the lowest grade 9-headed void devouring bug can devour space and spit saliva that no cultivator can block. Even low-level immortals would have to run much less truth realization state peak stage cultivators. If 9-headed void devouring bug reached higher levels, even golden immortals or high would be dead. The first time to breeding 9-headed void devouring bug is very hard because many soul clones may be annihilated before maturing. If too many clones are annihilated, the 9-headed void devouring bug would be greatly weakened, so they are usually bred at a place with no people or place with no powerful beings. Yemo took a cold breath in. This 9-headed void devouring bug was too scary. When it first matures, even a low-level immortal crystals was no match for it. But he finally understood why it was being bred in the cultivation realm. It needed to devour the essence blood of cultivators, and if people dared to do this in the immortal realm, the soul clone would long be annihilated. So powerful, Yemo exclaimed. He had decided to annihilate the body in all herb mountain ranges no matter what. Just one was already that powerful. If that bred cultivator controlled all 9, how was he supposed to fight? Wait, why didn't Chu Xiaoyi annihilate the one in all her mountain ranges? He sealed it instead. If it was something he could annihilate, how would Chu Xiaoyi not be able to? Thinking about this, Yemo shook. He finally realized what Chu Xiaoyi sealed. It wasn't a soul clone, but the breeder of the 9-headed void devouring bug. Tang Mingrao sighed. The 9-headed void devouring bug is indeed terrifying. Yemo didn't explain to her. Luckily, he disintegrated that black thing, or it might start growing in another place. Let's go Dual Heart Valley. Yemo had decided to annihilate Ao Qianai first. He probably wasn't strong enough to take on the thing in all herb mountain ranges. Seeing Yemo and Tang Mingrao leave, those low-level cultivators on the side rushed into the market. Dual Heart Valley, being a 5-star sect, has very good location. In North Far State, 5-star sect was considered high-level sect. Dual Heart Valley, being a 5-star sect, has very good location. In North Far State, 5-star sect was considered high-level sect. What are they doing? Tang Mingrao looked at the cultivators outside Dual Heart Valley. Yemo saw there were 2 groups of cultivators having a standoff as though they were about to fight at any time. Elder One, do you think you're the only body condensation state in North Far State? Just because you reached body condensation state, you dare to bring your sect members to destroy our sect's defense formation. A sharp voice sounded. Ha ha ha. A bleak laughter sounded. Lupang, when Fuchi, am a body condensation state. What can you do? I am going to attack your sect formation. What are you going to do? Yemo noticed that Lu Peng was a white-faced middle-aged man who looked ordinary and was at Hollow Spirit State level 7. He had 2 Hollow Spirit State next to him, one Hollow Spirit State level 4 old man who was very tall, another Hollow Spirit State level 2 middle-aged female cultivator. Yemo looked at her and knew she might be Hai Tong's mother. This person is so domineering, Tang Mingrao said unhappily. At this moment, the Hollow Spirit State level 2 female cultivator said coldly when Fuchi, we Dual Heart Valley can't do anything to you, but we're also a 5-star sect. Even if we fight and Dual Heart Valley gets annihilated, so what? Your Ghost Immortal sect has always been very domineering. It's not the first time you're going to annihilate sections. The 4-star Sectly Water sect was annihilated by you. 4-star sect Zheng Yuan Sword sect was also annihilated by you. You didn't even let 3-star sect Pill Herb sect go. The female cultivator sneer, now that your Ghost Immortal sect reached 6 stars, and so you want to find an excuse to annihilate us. No matter what, we Dual Heart Valley will fight to the death. Yimo already had past conflict with Ghost Immortal sect, but after his power grew so much he lost interest in revenge. But now, he encountered them again, and they did things just the way they did in the past. At this moment, a hollow spirit state level 5 cultivator from Ghost Immortal sect said, Elder High, we're not trying to trouble you. As long as you hand over the person, we will leave immediately. Yimo's face suddenly changed. He remembered Herb Pill sect. That was Muiching's sect. He joined the Pill Concoction Hall of Fame tournament through their sect, and he said he would go visit them. How could he resist hearing that the sect was annihilated? He dashed forward. The female cultivator was just about to speak, but saw a young cultivator suddenly charge in. No one saw how he came, so she ate her words. Yimo looked coldly at Wenfuchi. Herb Pill sect was annihilated by your sect? Seeing a young cultivator charge up to his face and ask him so brutal, why Wenfuchi was furious, but when he saw he couldn't see through Yimo's power, he stopped his temper and studied Yimo instead. That's right, the Herb Pill sect was annihilated Ghost Immortal sect. Specifically speaking, when Chifu did it personally. The sect leader of Herb Pill sect Mu Iching offended Ghost Immortal sect. It's said he offended a cultivator called Ji Ziyuan. When Chifu is Ji Ziyuan's master, so he annihilated Herb Pill sect. The female cultivator seemed to realize who Yimo was and quickly said. When Chifu's face changed greatly. He also seemed to have realized who Yimo, but before he could talk, Yimo had bound him completely with his domain. Yimo's face was extremely cold. I killed Ji Ziyuan. I didn't go annihilate your sect, but you dare to go annihilate Herb Pill sect. When Chifu was sweating, he heard Yimo was very powerful, but now it seemed Yimo was countless times more powerful than what he heard. Yimo didn't even move, and he couldn't move at all. None of the Ghost Immortal sect members behind him could move too. Seeing this power, the Dual Heart Valley cultivators were shook. The sect leader and elders all came to greet Yimo. Yimo didn't seem to see them and just stared coldly at Wenchifu. Qian Bei. When Chifu's tone was shaky. He was using his power to dominate the cultivators of Dual Heart Valley, but immediately, he got a taste of his own medicine. Speak. Where are the Herb Pill sect people? Yimo didn't think Ghost Immortal sect would do this. This had completely nothing to do with Herb Pill sect. Qian Bei, I only killed Muiching. The rest all left. When Chifu said shakily, hearing that Muiching died due to him, Yimo's killing intent exploded. He regret not taking the Herb Pill sect people to pay high. The Ghost Immortal sect members immediately felt an extreme pressure. After this pressure, there was an extreme squeezing force from the air around them. Thud. Blood mist sprayed, and these cultivators all turned to bloody mist. When Chifu's eyes went red, but he couldn't move at all. Just when he wanted to speak, a huge lightning sword struck him and he turned to dust. Yimo breathed. If he wasn't going to find Ao Qiandai, he would immediately go Ghost Immortal sect and annihilate them. But now that he was here, he would find Ao Qiandai first. The Dual Heart Valley cultivators were dazed. What power was this? A body condensation state was killed with one lightning sword? The other cultivators were dead without needing to do anything. Luckily Tang Mingrao came over now, and all the cultivators knew Tang Mingrao. Yimo looked at Yimo, and then said to Lu Peng, I came with Yimo here to go see your Dual Heart Lake. Would that be convenient? How could Lu Peng dare to say no? Of course. Wan Bei will accompany Qian Bei to there immediately. The female cultivator said, I'll go with the 2 Qian Bais. Hearing this, Lu Peng quickly said, Okay, that's where Haitong lives. It's perfect that she goes with 2 Qian Bais. Dual Heart Lake wasn't the place with densest spirit chi in the sect, but it was the most beautiful place. There was spirit sense barrier formation, but it couldn't stop Yimo's spirit sense. Yemo was unhappy, so he said nothing on the way. The three walked in, and Yemo casually scanned with spirit sense. Aoqindi wasn't here. It was just Hai Tong sitting by the lake daisying. Xiao Tong, what are you doing? The female cultivator frowned. Hai Tong immediately saw Yemo and Tang Ming Rao and flew over. Brother Yi, did you come to see me? The female cultivator's face changed drastically and quickly said, Xiao Tong, don't be so rude. This is Yemo Qianbei and sect leader Tang of Jade Woman sect. Hai Tong just recognized Tang Ming Rao only now and quickly greeted her. Tang Ming Rao smiled and nodded. Hai Tong, where is the girl staying with you? Hai Tong quickly said. Sect leader Tang, are you asking about Sister Xiaoyi? She just left. I told her to stay a few days, but she won't listen. Yemo was disappointed, but then he frowned. Why did Xiaoyi seem so familiar? Where did she go? Tang Mingrao asked. She wanted to see Ao Qiandai. It was lucky she could find her here. If she was gone, it would be hard to see her again. Where did she go? Tang Mingrao asked. She wanted to see Ao Qiandai. It was lucky she could find her here. If she was gone, it would be hard to see her again. Hai Tong shook her head. I don't know. Sister Xiaoyi didn't say. She only said she was busy. Yemo asked heavily. Why did Xiaoyi come here? How long did she stay here? Was there anything strange about her? No matter how innocent Hai Tong was, she realized Yemo didn't come here for her, but to investigate that Xiaoyi. She didn't dare to hide anything. Sister Xiaoyi seemed to be heavily injured. She stayed here for a month or so and left 2 days ago. As for strange things, Hai Tong thought for a while and said, she often dazes off alone and is always murmuring something to herself. Every time I asked her, she always says she's thinking. By the way, she seems to be very powerful, but the necklace she wore was very low grade. It was only a spirit artifact and was broken in half. I gave her a better one, but she didn't wear it. Hearing this, Yemo finally realized why the name felt strange. Xiao Yi was the last 2 words of Chu Xiaoyi. She had the half necklace, clearly meaning she was related to Chu Xiaoyi. Thinking about this, Yemo took out the jade box and took out half a necklace. Is it like this? Haidong saw this and said in shock, yes, it's that. How is it, Brother Yi? You guys are. Haitong seemed to have understood something and gave the necklace back to Yemo after a long while. It was her indeed. Although Tang Mingrao was certain there was nothing between Yemo and Ao Qiandai, seeing this, she still thought a little much. But she couldn't ask Yemo about this. Yemo fell silent and no one spoke. Yemo was thinking, since Ao Qiandai was Chu Xiaoyi's other woman, why was she trying to destroy North Far State, conspiring with spirit beasts and starting trouble between the 3 disaster transformation state cultivators of North Far State? If he didn't come back to North Far State that time, North Far State might really be taken over by spirit beasts. Chu Xiaoyi was the guardian of North Far State. Ao Qiandai shouldn't be acting against Chu Xiaoyi. Everything that happened at MOU was planned by her. She went to seek revenge at MOU at the perfect time, right when Ling Zhongtian went and invited Yi of Wangyu sect. She probably calculated Yi's personality when she met him. This woman was too scary. She wanted to kill him because he ruined her plans, but another reason was because she possessed Ao Qiandai, so she would help her brother get revenge. Yemo shook his head. He didn't understand why Ao Qiandai had such aggression towards North Far State human cultivators. Was it because Chu Xiaoyi mistreated her and she wanted to use this as revenge? This didn't make sense. How could this get revenge on Chu Xiaoyi? Even if she annihilated North Far State, Chu Xiaoyi was still Chu Xiaoyi. He would at most achieve Immortal Ascension. Immortal Ascension? A spark shone in Yemo's brain. He began to realize why Ao Qiandai did this. Chu Xiaoyi was the guardian of North Far State. Chu Yun said that for one day North Far State existed, for one day the Chu family would guard it. But what if human cultivators of North Far State were annihilated? Would the Chu family guard spirit beasts? Impossible. The powerful beings of Chu family would leave North Far State and achieve Immortal Ascension when they reach the level. Ao Qiandai wanted to force Chu Xiaoyi into Immortal Ascension through this. In order to be with Chu Xiaoyi, she couldn't achieve Immortal Ascension too, so she could only use such means. Yemo shook his head. This idea was too crazy. Ao Qiandai wouldn't be this crazy, right? Chu Xiaoyi already died at West Extreme State. He wouldn't come out no matter what. Yimo suddenly thought of another possibility. Chu Xiaoyi was dead, but Ao Chindai didn't know. Perhaps she was using this to force out Chu Xiaoyi. No matter what, Yimo felt the situation to be tricky due to Chu Xiaoyi's relationship with Ao Chindai. Should he kill her? He wanted to, but if he did, he would owe Chu Xiaoyi too much. Yimo suddenly asked, "Sect leader Tang, have you heard of Chu Xiaoyi?" Tang Mingrao shook her head. "No, what's wrong with him? Can a truth realization state, peak, stage cultivator live for more than 10,000 years?" Yimo asked again. Tang Mingrao thought of a long while before answering. "I don't know clearly if they can live for more than 10,000 years. But even if they could live for that long, they wouldn't be able to stay in the cultivation realm because they have to achieve immortal ascension." Yimo nodded. So how was Ao Chindai so sure Chu Xiaoyi wasn't dead and could live till now even without achieving immortal ascension? If there was an extremely rare herb, then that was possible. The 7-color pan peach was the same level spirit fruit as immortal curl flower. Eating that would grant 10,000 years of life to a cultivator. This was rarer than immortal curl flower because it was usually eaten by spirit beasts before maturing. Increasing life was possible, but not ascending was hard. Yimo didn't keep thinking. Perhaps they had their own ways. "Yimo, let's leave if there's nothing else." Tang Mingrao could tell there was a lot on Yimo's mind. Yimo nodded and left Dual Heart Valley with Tang Mingrao. The elders and sect leader sent them all the way until they couldn't see them before daring to leave. "Are you going to Ghost Immortal Sect?" Tang Mingrao asked. "I will go see Herb Pill Sect first. I was able to go to the herb plane due to their help. I have to get revenge for their sect leader who was killed due to me. The sect leader has a disciple and a daughter. I want to see if they're there. If they are, I will take them away." Yimo was dejected. Tang Mingrao sighed. "Are you leaving North Far State after this?" Yimo nodded but didn't say anything. Tang Mingrao quickly said, "Don't worry about Yimo. I will keep searching for her. Don't worry about Imoyu either. I will help look out for it." "Thank you, sect leader Tang." Yimo saluted with his fists. "Farewell, we'll meet again." Then, Yimo released Blue Moon and disappeared. She looked at the direction Yimo disappeared and stood there for a long time before sighing. She thought of that day when Yimo hugged her and the feeling she had. After 15 minutes, Tang Mingrao shook her head and cast the thoughts aside. She released her flying cultivation artifact and flew in the opposite direction. She knew she lived in a different world than Yimo. Unless she could find Yimo, they would never see each other again. For hours later, Yimo appeared at a mountain range that had a decent spirit range. This was the Herb Pill Sect. This place was more ruined than the South Mountain Market. Seeing this, Yimo's fury was uncontrollable. He also felt regret. If it wasn't for him, Herb Pill Sect wouldn't be famous and the Ghost Immortal Sect wouldn't blame this on them. He scanned his spirit sense out. There were no cultivators here, only a few low-level spirit beasts. Yimo couldn't resist anymore and released Blue Moon. He was going to tear the mountain range of Ghost Immortal Sect apart. When Yimo arrived at Ghost Immortal Sect, he found that the cultivators there already all left, and there was just an empty sect. When Yimo arrived at Ghost Immortal Sect, he found that the cultivators there already all left, and there was just an empty sect. Its location was better than Dual Heart Valley, and there was an incomplete low-grade spirit range. This was top-level cultivation environment in the North Far State. Yimo didn't have the intention to hunt the rest of the sect members, the main culprit when Fuchi was dead. With his truth realization state power, he easily stamped the sect grounds, and those extremely tall peaks were destroyed. 15 minutes later, Yimo left the Ghost Immortal Sect. The once very famous Ghost Immortal Sect was stamped to the ground due to annihilating a 3-star sect. The Ghost Immortal Sect members escaped, but no one dared to say he came from Ghost Immortal Sect. After annihilating the Ghost Immortal Sect, Yimo kept searching for Yimo and started looking for Mu He and Lu Ming. Half a month later, Yimo found nothing. When he was extremely disappointed, he arrived at Kong Ye's place. He now knew that Kong Ye lived at the highest peak in North Far State. At the top there were the words, Hui Dangling Peak. Looking at these words, Yemo knew Kong Yi didn't write it. He can't imagine Chu Xiaoyi writing this, but other than, there was no one who Yemo knew could leave this behind. Yemo stood before the words for a long time, and just when he wanted to go top the peak, another flying ray came over. Yemo immediately recognized who it was. It was Shandi. He was able to escape Insu. It's you. Shandi neared and recognized Yemo. When he saw that Yemo was Truth Realization State Level 1, he couldn't hide the shock in his eyes anymore. After a long while, he asked, "You're already Truth Realization State?" Yemo glanced at him coldly and didn't reply. Clearly, he was invited here by Kong Yi too. Shandi was joyful when he saw Yemo because he long wanted to teach him a lesson, but now he was hesitant. Yemo reached Truth Realization State in such a short time. It was eerie, but not impossible. It was because Yemo got 3 low-grade immortal crystals. He didn't know the cultivation effect of LW immortal crystals. And, when Yemo was cauldron-filling state, he didn't fear his disaster transformation state level 9. If Yemo really reached Truth Realization State, then he probably was no match for Yemo despite being Truth Realization State. Realizing this, Shandi granted and wanted to go up, but Yemo suddenly stopped in front of him and said calmly, "Sect Leader Shan, why are you leaving when you see me? Aren't you going to get revenge for your disciple Why? What are you going to do?" Seeing this, Shandi's heart sunk. He immediately knew Yemo was really Truth Realization State, and he was certain he was no match for Yemo. Shandi quickly said again, "Yemo, my disciple Why offended your MOU, and you've killed him. I didn't go get revenge, what else do you want?" Shandi was backing down, but Yemo said calmly, "Sect Leader Shan, what did I tell you when I left Pei Hai? You took my spirit recovery pill, but you didn't do anything. Instead, you help people attack my MOU. What do you think I want to do?" Shandi's heart sunk, and he knew things wouldn't be settled easily today. He took out his fire rune mirror and said, "Yemo, E is my disciple, but how can I know everything that he does? Plus, if it wasn't for my sect protecting MOU, it would have long been annihilated by the Black and White Pill King or the Ghost Immortal Sect cultivators. Why don't you mention that?" Before Yemo could speak, he heard Kong Ye's voice, "Haha. Yemo, you're here. Sect leader, so are you. Come up together then." Hearing this, Shandi put away the mirror and went up instead. Yemo wanted to teach Shandi a lesson, but it wasn't convenient here. Plus, Shandi wasn't completely wrong too. When Yemo reached the peak, the restriction was open. The building made Yemo feel very strange. This was where Chu Xiaoyi lived. He thought there would be some moderate buildings, but there was just a simple bamboo room, and in front of it was an empty space with a stone table and chair. Yemo was sitting on a stone chair, and he smiled, "Sect Leader Shan, Yemo, please have a seat." As soon as he sat down, Yemo felt awkward. The people carrying tea out were Chu Yun and Chu Yulan. His lie was exposed. When Chu Yun put the tea on the table, she walked up to Yemo and bowed. Wan Bei didn't know Qin Bei was Yemo, sorry. Then, she went to greet Yemo. Clearly, Yemo had much higher status in her heart than Yemo. But when Chu Yulan realized Yemo was the Qin Bei they met, she dazed and realized to greet him after a long while. Yemo nodded. Kong Yi laughed. "Great, great. I didn't think before my death both of you can reach Truth Realization State. This is great." The two girls just realized that Shandi also reached Truth Realization State, and were very shocked. Shandi got up and saluted with his fists, "Kong Yi Qin Bei. Only after reaching Truth Realization State did I know there was Qin Bei protecting North Far State, otherwise we would have long disappeared." Kong Yi nodded. "I didn't expect that after you sect leader Tang also reached Truth Realization State, North Far State is safe." Shandi asked in shock. Kong Yi Qin Bei, Martial Sister Tang, also reached Truth Realization State? Kong Yi smiled. Yemo brought this news. I guess that the Qin Bei in Chu Yun's words was Yemo, and it is him indeed now, haha. Kong Yi looked at Yemo. "Yemo, did you kill Heartless Si Xie?" Yemo immediately answered, "Yes. When I came back to North Far State, I saw him, so I killed him." Kong Yi nodded. "He's Truth Realization State Level 2, and you can kill him. Clearly your cultivation method is quite powerful." Shandi was full of shock. Yemo just reached Truth Realization State, and he could kill Truth Realization State Level 2 Beast Cultivator. Wouldn't it be even easier to kill him? After a long while, Kong Yi asked, Yimo, where did you get martial ancestors' remains from? Yimo replied, in West Extreme State Heaven Domains. Kong Yi nodded and said to the two, with sect leader Tang, you three are the strongest in North Far State. Qixia is dead and North Far State should be safe for a few hundred years. It's perfect that Yimo came today. I will be leaving North Far State soon. I have a small world. I want to give it to one of you before I leave. I hope the person who takes it will offer some power to North Far State before immortal ascension. Hearing this, Yimo was fine, but Shandi seemed very aspiring. Chu Yun's heart was shaking hearing this, wondering why the martial ancestor didn't give it to her. Yimo didn't understand why Kong Yi was giving this to someone else instead of the Chu family, but he said Kong Yi Qianbei. Wanbei will be leaving North Far State sooner or later. I can't take it. With this, even Kong Yi looked at him in shock. There was a Truth Realization State cultivator who could reject small world. This was incomprehensible. Yimo had Golden Page World. He wouldn't care about this small world, but Shandi does. He quickly got up and said, Kong Yi Qianbei, no matter what, as long as Wanbei is in North Far State for one day, I will guard it for one day. Yimo had Golden Page World. He wouldn't care about this small world, but Shandi does. He quickly got up and said, Kong Yi Qianbei, no matter what, as long as Wanbei is in North Far State for one day, I will guard it for one day. Kong Yi looked at Yimo, and then Shandi and nodded, okay. Then, he asked Yimo, I heard you say that guardians were unnecessary? Yimo didn't answer and instead asked, Kong Yi Qianbei, as the guardian family of North Far State, the Chu family, are you the strongest? Or other than you, Chu Yun? Kong Yi said sadly, indeed, the Chu family has declined. It's very hard that there being this guardian. Yimo smiled, existence is reason. It's good that there's a guarding for this world, but this isn't what the world needs. Plus, Kong Yi Qianbei, you still have some people willing to listen to you, but after you leave, who would listen to Chu Yun? Kong Yi nodded, that's right, you're very right. The guardian indeed no longer needs to exist. He knew that Yimo meant that regardless if North Far State was dominated by human cultivators or beast cultivator, it was unavoidable. It wasn't something that one man's power could change. Even if someone could change it for 100 years, can he change it for thousands or 10,000 years? Shandi asked in shock, Kong Yi Qianbei, so the North Far State guardians really exist? Kong Yi Qianbei is a guardian? Kong Yi nodded sadly, yes. So many years and now I'm about to die. This guardian doesn't live up to its name. So, Shandi, I will give the small world to you. When you leave North Far State, give it to another person. North Far State doesn't need guardian, but it can't not have a leader. Yimo finally realized why Kong Yi didn't give the small world to Chu Yun. He had long wanted Chu family to break free from this guardian title. Let the guardian be the strongest of each generation, or the one with the greatest calling. Shandi was the best choice without hesitation. Shandi realized what Kong Yi meant and got up. Shandi will not betray Qianbei's will. No matter what, I will offer my power to North Far State. Yimo looked down on Shandi's character, but he probably spoke the truth. He used a lot of effort for the beast tide all these years. Kong Yi took out a storage ring and gave to Shandi. This storage ring is a small world. You can spirit control it? Yes. Shandi took the small world excitedly. If he wasn't here, he would want to spirit control it immediately. Kong Yi nodded. The Chu family has guarded North Far State for more than 10,000 years. Even if they're to no longer be guardians, the entire North Far State cultivators need to be notified. You can do this. Shandi quickly said, Wanbei knows. Even if Kong Yi didn't say this, Shandi would do this. As one, this could unite the hearts of North Far State and also bring up his status. After all, he was the successor of Kong Yi. Chu Yun finally realized why martial ancestor Kong Yi didn't give the small world to them. It was to let the Chu family break free, and perhaps only so would the people of Chu family be able to pursue their own Tao. Thinking that martial ancestor Kong Yi didn't have long to live, Chu Yun felt sad. Yimo sighed. Kong Ye's chi was weak. He clearly can't even last 50 years. It was useless even if he had top-grade 60-year pills for him. Unless there was 7-colored pan peach, there was no other way to help Kong Yi. Kong Yi said to Shan Di, sect leader Shan, "Go arrange with sect leader Tang to do this." Shan Di wanted to leave as soon as possible now. He felt uncomfortable staying with Yimo. Now that Kong Yi said this, he quickly got up and said, "Yes, Shan Di will go. Qianbei, take care." After Shan Di left, Kong Yi said, "I'm going to West Extreme State to find out why Martial Ancestor went there. We might never meet again after this. There isn't a lot of people left in the Chu family and the direct line only has a few people left. Yulan's talent is quite good. If possible, I want you to take her to South Peace State. If she can immortal ascension, I won't feel guilty to the Chu family ancestors." Chu Yulan said very obediently, "Now, Martial Uncle Yi, please take me as your disciple." Her tone wasn't cold like when she first saw Yimo. She looked hopingly at Yimo as though fearing Yimo would say no. Yimo's head ached. He thought for a long while before saying, "I can take you in as a disciple, but I have my things. Can you stay at the Chu family to cultivate? I believe there are good hidden places with great formation in the Chu family, right?" Seeing her in a daze, Yimo could only add, "If one day you reach truth realization state, you can come find me at Pei Hai City." Chu Yun said dazedly after a while, "How can Yulan reach truth realization state here?" Yimo smiled, "She can with these." Then, he took out a storage ring and gave it to Chu Yun. He needed to find Yimo. He didn't want to take Chu Yulan everywhere. Plus, he didn't have the effort to teach a disciple. The Chu family cultivation method is definitely really good. He just needed to supply her with some cultivation resources. Seeing Yimo's rejection, Chu Yun didn't have the mood to check the storage ring. She still wanted to say something, but Kong Yi said, "It's fine. Staying here to cultivate is not a bad thing." Yimo knew that Kong Yi told him to come here for the small world. Now that this was resolved, Kong Yi probably didn't have anything else to say. He got up to say goodbye. After Yimo left, Chu Yun asked in confusion, "Martial Ancestor, didn't you want Yulan to be Yimo's disciple last time?" Now that Yimo came, Yimo smiled. "What's the purpose of Yulan being his disciple?" Of course, the hope to reach truth realization state and ascend into the immortal realm and find the ancestors of Chu family. Chu Yun said. "Then look at what Yimo gave," Kong Yi said. Chu Yun scanned the storage ring with her spirit sense and opened her mouth in shock. Half a month later, Yimo went back to Pei Hai City unhappily. He had searched the entire North Far State, but didn't find anything about Yimo. Seeing Yimo's sadness, Song Yangzhu came to comfort her. They stayed at Pei Hai for another half a month before leaving. Yimo left with Su Jingguan, Song Yangzhu Yiling, Li Yuqian, Jiling Ting Yi, Bianfeng Ta, and Meng Hanan and them. Other than the MOU people, the Pei Hai City Lord and them also came to send them off. People from the Jade Woman sect, Immortal Herb Valley, as well as the sect leaders of most big sects came. Even Shan Di sent people over. After bidding farewell, Blue Moon disappeared into the Heartless Sea in a blue blur. Blue Moon, being a half-immortal artifact, was faster than a comet on the Heartless Sea. A month later, Blue Moon had gone nearly one-third of the way. If it was some extreme-grade cultivation artifact, this one-third would take 7 or 8 months. Blue Moon, being a half-immortal artifact, was faster than a comet on the Heartless Sea. A month later, Blue Moon had gone nearly one-third of the way. If it was some extreme-grade cultivation artifact, this one-third would take 7 or 8 months. Meng Hanan stood aboard Blue Moon and sighed with Blue Moon. Even a Foundation establishment state might dare to cross Heartless Sea. Who can catch up with this speed? Meng Hanan exaggerated a little, but this was true. However, Foundation establishment state wouldn't be able to have that speed. With this speed, everyone didn't want to cultivate and just watch the sea view. After all, not any cultivator can cross the Heartless Sea. Who knows when they would be crossing the Heartless Sea next? Today, Meng Hanan, Su Jingguan, and Yiling were chatting freely, and Yimo was discussing formation with Jai Lnig, but Blue Moon suddenly shook violently. This was the first time this happened. Yimo scanned his spirit sense out, and his face changed immediately. "It's Sequake." Meng Hanan said first. Seaquake was different to earthquake. Not only did the huge waves roar, but even the space tens of kilometers above is very shaky. The space vibrations may even kickstart space fissures and space tears. If flying magic artifact encounters space tears, it would be ripped apart no matter how good it is. Cultivators would be ripped apart no matter how strong they were. Hearing this, everyone's face changed except for Su Jingwen and them. Jiling also got up. As the Seaquake space, they might be swept away by the violent space fissures or space dispositions at any time. This power wasn't something human cultivators could defend against. Jiling had gone through a lot and was very calm now. With Blue Moon's speed, they can charge out before being affected. He immediately said, "Don't worry, Blue Moon's speed is enough to charge out of the range. We just need to speed up Blue Moon." As soon as Jiling said this, waves were already 10-meter high. Blue Moon descended rapidly until it was only 1 kilometer from the sea level. Yemo, who was planning to speed up Blue Moon, stopped instead and sneered, "This isn't Seaquake, it's a formation of the Beast Cultivator. A very powerful space disruption formation." Yemo already saw some Beast Cultivators now. 2 of them were Truth Realization State Level 7, and 1 was Truth Realization State Peak Stage. The rest were Disaster Transformation State or Cauldron Filling State. Even Jiling recognized this was a formation, but before he could say anything, he also saw a Beast Cultivator come over. Haha. A Truth Realization State Level 7 Beast Cultivator laughed, keen eyes. "You even know a little about my Shallow Sea Palace's Level 10 formation, Tier C formation?" Hearing this, Meng Hanan's face changed and was even more scared than before. She said shakily, "Shallow Sea Palace people." Su Jingwen knew Yemo's power and wasn't so worried. She subconsciously asked, "Sister-in, you know about the Shallow Sea Palace?" Meng Hanan calmed down and nodded. Shallow Sea Palace is one of the strongest powers in the Heartless Sea. They're at the place where the spirit chi is the densest in the Heartless Sea. How are they compared to the Sea Cultivator Alliance? Yiling asked. Meng Hanan smiled bitterly. It's not easy to compare. The Sea Cultivator Alliance is only a power in the Border Sea. They're a far cry from the overlord of the Heartless Sea. Level 10 formation? Jiling heard this and his face changed. He searched carefully with his spirit sense. Level 10 formation was equivalent to the lowest level Immortal formation. This one's something ordinary Level 9 formation Grandmaster can set up. Only Immortal formation masters can set this up. Yemo waved his hand to Jiling. "Jiling Qianbei, don't worry. This is indeed a Level 10 formation disc. This is the second highest level formation disc I've seen, but the formation isn't a Level 10 formation." Insolent brats, 2 mere Truth Realization State primary stage cultivators dare to point fingers at our Tier C formation. How is this not Level 10 formation? Where did you see a higher level formation than this? Full of shit. The Truth Realization State Level 7 said. The Beast Cultivator sneer. "Your words made me unhappy. I was just going to keep your flying magic artifact and the women, but now, you can all stay behind." The other Beast Cultivator sealed off Blue Moon's exit path. The Disaster Transformation State Tertiary Stage left behind a formation flag and the shaky space stabled down. Yemo sneered. A mere Level 10 formation disc already made the formation half a grade lower. With this trash formation master, the formation disc's power is lowered again. If it wasn't that I wanted to stay, do you think this trash formation can stop me? Yemo was telling the truth. Level 10 formation disc was weaker than Level 10 formation, and with only a Level 7 formation Grandmaster controlling this, the formation disc's power was much weaker. He really could leave out at any time, but there was 2 reasons he stayed. One was that although they were interested in his Blue Moon, he was also interested in the Level 10 formation. The second was that he was interested in the extreme grade spirit range powering the Level 10 formation disc. The Truth Realization State Level 7 heard this and laughed, releasing a flaming red axe about to attack. That Truth Realization State Peak Stage stopped him and looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo had a lot of cultivators on his flying, but there was only 2 Truth Realization State Level 1 cultivators and 1 Disaster Transformation State. The rest were much weaker. He really didn't understand why Yemo was so confident, but he really didn't see any fear from Yemo's face. The Truth Realization State Level 7 looked at the Truth Realization State peak stage in confusion. It was clear he was wondering why he wasn't allowed to go. The Truth Realization State peak stage looked carefully again and didn't find anyone else on Yimo's ship. He nodded to the Truth Realization State Level 7, Song. Go, be careful. Yimo didn't want to fight on Blue Moon and said to Ji Ling, brother, help me control Blue Moon and protect the formation. You have balls. The Truth Realization State Level 7 saw Yimo dared to come out and challenge him. Yimo didn't say anything and released Zissou while expanding his domain. The red flaming axe hacked towards Yimo in a red arc. The area 100 meters around it were completely enveloped in this red arc. Countless flames curled out of the arc. The flame had a terrifying heat. Clearly, it was a rare flame. Yimo was surprised. This was the first time he saw another rare flame cultivation method. However, this beast cultivator used the rare flame cultivation method through his axe. This move was similar to his illusion cloud formation kill strike. Countless flames separated from the arc. The beast cultivator said he didn't take Yimo seriously, but he used a powerful move as soon as he came. Clearly, he didn't really mean it. Crack. The beast cultivator's face changed, and he found that his domain was about to break. What was going on? This was a mere Truth Realization State Level 1 cultivator. As he used more cultivation essence, his domain was about to be repaired, but Yimo's domain was always stronger than his. His domain kept breaking, and before it completely shattered, his axe wasn't affected at all. Rumble. Zissou's purple sword rays clashed with the red flaming axe. Flames and purple splashed everywhere, rattling the space. However, all those flames were swooped by Yimo's purple sword rays. None could escape. The other two Truth Realization State Beast Cultivator were shook, seeing that the two were seemingly evenly matched. A Truth Realization State Level 1 was evenly matched with Truth Realization State Level 7. This wasn't normal at all. The other two Truth Realization State Beast Cultivator were shook, seeing that the two were seemingly evenly matched. A Truth Realization State Level 1 was evenly matched with Truth Realization State Level 7. This wasn't normal at all. At this moment, there was another crack. Everyone else didn't hear it clearly, but Yimo and the Beast Cultivator fighting him did. His domain cracked, and the Beast Cultivator's face changed. If he fell in Yimo's domain, even if he didn't get killed, he would be heavily injured. Before Yimo could completely extend his domain, his red axe swiped, and the flames enveloped by the purple sword rays broke free and instantly condensed into one big flower. As soon as it formed, it turned more than 10 meters long. It smashed at Yimo above his head. At the same time, he released his axe again, but this time, the axe shadow wasn't aimed at Yimo, but the hundreds of meters of air around Yimo. The Beast Cultivator clearly wanted to kill Yimo before Yimo fully expanded his domain. He didn't believe that Yimo would be able to escape. With such power, the Beast Cultivator were cheering. Everyone on Yimo's side saw this, but none of them could help Yimo. Even if they could, there were two Truth Realization State Cultivators watching on the side. Yimo sneered. He also instantly expanded his domain. It was many times stronger than when he fought with the Beast Cultivator. The Beast Cultivator instantly was bound by Yimo's domain. His face changed. He knew he was tricked. Yimo didn't use his domain completely at all before. He only used 1/5. This was his real domain. The axe shadow had gone in Yimo's domain and became slow like a turtle sunk into mud. The huge flaming flower also seemed to be falling down slower. The Beast Cultivator was shook. He suddenly spat essence blood at the red flower. With this, the flower shone brightly again, and its temperature rose up drastically. Even space was distorting in this temperature. Yimo's face changed. He waved Zissou in the air. The Beast Cultivator wanted to call for help, but when he saw Yimo's face changed greatly, he resisted the urge to do so. He was fighting a Truth Realization State Level 1 insect, and if he called for help, he would have no more face in the future. The other two saw that Kutsong didn't seem to be in the right state, but he seemed to have the upper hand, so they didn't mind. At this moment, Zissou activated a vibrant purple ray, and even the huge flower was immersed by the light. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. When the beast cultivator realized that his flaming flower didn't stop the purple ray and it arrived above his head, his face went pale. Not good. He was tricked. Such a cunning human cultivator. He wasn't scared of his flower at all. He acted scared. He immediately wanted to call for help, but it was too late now. Purple rays sliced over his body like it was made of tofu, bringing about a bloody mist. Even his essence spirit was annihilated by the purple ray. At the same time, Emo picked up a storage ring. This wasn't it. The red flaming flower saw instantly put into a jade box by Emo closing the lid. Emo slapped on a few restrictions and threw the box in his storage ring. A red shame flame. Emo only needed a few seconds to put it away. He would have plenty of time to spirit control it later. This set of actions was done very smoothly. Clearly he was a professional. Kutsong, the truth realization state peak stage, was about to stare his eyes out. Kutsong, who had the clear upper hand, was instantly killed moments later. I'm going to tear you apart. The truth realization state peak stage couldn't keep calm anymore and waved a blue shadow in his hand as he charged up. Emo sneered. He didn't use his full power fighting that Kutsong at all. He killed one first just in case these guys went to attack Blue Moon. Now that there was only 2 truth realization state cultivators left, he didn't worry at all. Jiling could deal with the remaining cultivators. Before the truth realization state peak stage reached Emo, the blue shadow whipped out tins of small beads. Some were blue, some were white. Emo felt strange. What cultivation method was this? He immediately released Octagonal Cauldron. It was better to be safe no matter what. As soon as he did, the beads exploded into a waterfall of killing intent. Each bead of the waterfall and killing intent, as though just touching these water beads would mean being torn apart. The space around here were completely squeezed, making Emo unable to escape. Emo sighed. So powerful. If it wasn't him, other cultivators would really be unable to escape. There were endless means in this world indeed. But he wasn't scared. His domain had completely expanded out and Octagonal Cauldron's shadow shielded him. Rumble. Octagonal Cauldron clashed with the waterfall, but the sound wasn't of water, but metal clashing together. The vibration even made Emo's meridians rattle a little. The water spark and water arrow was blocked by Emo's domain again, and not a single drop could enter Emo's domain. At this moment, Emo released Zisu 2. The waterfall's killing intent didn't affect Emo at all. The truth realization state peak stage's heart sunk. He realized that they kicked a hard brick this time. He also realized that Emo was being serious when he said he didn't want to run. But there was no way back now. Just when the beast cultivator was planning to let everyone go up together, space rattled again and the sea roared too. The truth realization state peak stage was furious and stared at the disaster transformation state tertiary stage cultivator controlling the formation Shanyu, who let you to start the formation. This formation was enough to stop Emo's flying magic artifact, but not enough to injure a cultivator like Emo. The next moment, he realized Shanyu didn't activate the formation. A space disposition appeared at where Shan Yu was tearing him into bloody mist. Even his essence spirit was gone. 1 kilometer-tall wave rose up into the air, and before the wave even hit people, the rattling space flow made the cultivators feeling a powerful suction force. Seaquake. The truth realization state peak stage beast cultivator's face changed drastically. He knew this was a real seaquake, not the power of the formation. He no longer had the will to fight Emo, and immediately released a shield wanting to dash out of the range of the seaquake. The other beast cultivators realized this too. As a cauldron-filling state beast cultivator was swooped away by Space Fisher, the rest of the cultivator's face went extremely pale. This wasn't something that humans could defend against. So what if your truth realization state peak stage? There was nothing you can do against this seaquake. Emo's face changed too. He saw Blue Moon rattling in the space as though it would be swooped away by space fissures at any time. Song Yangzhu's face was pale. Yiling called out, "Brother, get back here." But Emo knew there was no difference being on Blue Moon and being outside right now. Blue Moon had a larger volume and was easier to be taken away. Plus, there were some small space fissures between him and the Blue Moon. Who knows if they would explode when he went near them? Yemo put away his octagonal cauldron and yelled to Ji Ling, Ji Qianbei, "Put Blue Moon on full throttle and go back to South Peace State first. I'll come after." "No, I'm going to wait for you to come before I go," Song Yangzhu yelled. Before Yemo could speak, a terrifying roar sounded. A figure that was 1 kilometer tall rose out from the huge waves. Before people could see what it was, a huge claw easily grabbed a disaster transformation state cultivator and crushed him into mince. Before Yemo could speak, a terrifying roar sounded. A figure that was 1 kilometer tall rose out from the huge waves. Before people could see what it was, a huge claw easily grabbed a disaster transformation state cultivator and crushed him into mince. Only then did Yemo see clearly what this thing was. It was a very strange-looking fish. This fish had 2 wings and 4 huge claws. It had golden scales on its body, but the 2 scales on its back was very faint-colored. Magical beast Kuan. Yemo just thought of what this beast was, and someone else called it out. Looking at its power, not even multiple truth realization state peak stage were a match for it. Before Yemo could react, the Kuan stopped. It didn't attack the other beast cultivator, and instead looked at Blue Moon. Moments later, it made a more terrifying howl. It charged at Blue Moon. Yemo instantly realized what was going on. This Kuan was the one that was hunted before. The 2 scales on its back weren't fully grown and had a faint color. Now, it must sense that Blue Moon has its scale, so it was furious. Realizing this, Yemo released Zisu without hesitation and hacked with Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike with all his cultivation essence. He can't let Kuan grab Blue Moon. If it does, then everyone on it would be dead. After that, Yemo yelled, "Jiangwen, quickly tell Ji Qianbei to control Blue Moon and leave. Get back to Imoyu City as quickly as possible. You know I can protect myself. The seaquake is spreading. Blue Moon needs to get out quickly." Yemo couldn't speak anymore. He even felt breathing was hard. Ji Ling already started controlling Blue Moon to dash out at full speed. He knew Yemo was right. They wouldn't be able to help even if they were here. Plus, Ji Ling knows Yemo has a small world. There was nothing else they could do. Blue Moon go out wobbly. It was very fast, but in this seaquake space, it couldn't go the fastest. Thud. Zisu's purple beam clashed with the huge claw of Kuan, creating a shocking screeching sound. The rattling space became more violent, and some space fissures started to show in this clash, but they quickly healed. Yemo spat a mouthful of blood immediately and flew out. He stopped himself after 30 meters. Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. If he can't spill the blood of the enemy, he would spill blood himself. This was the first time Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain came back without spilling blood. His strike only left a white mark on the Kuan claw. Arg. The other truth realization state level 7 beast cultivator was unlucky and was swept away by Space Fisher. But Yemo didn't have the time to care about them. He didn't even have time to recover as he released Zisu again, swiping at Kuan. He wasn't going to let Kuan leave him to attack Blue Moon. The Kuan ignored Yemo. After knocking him away, it immediately began to chase Yemo. But Yemo's second strike came. It was Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike again. Rumble. Yemo was knocked flying again, but after spitting blood in air, Yemo charged back relentlessly. The Truth Realization State Level 9 saw that Yemo dared to fight a magical beast Kuan that was beyond level 10 with his life. He sweated cold. His Shallow Sea Palace dared to attack someone like this. They must be mad. This was asking for trouble. Another huge wave charged up from the sea, swooping at him. He cowled, watched the battle anymore, and quickly retreated, but only after 10 meters. A huge space fissure appeared out of nowhere and devoured him. Yemo's third strike struck the claw of Kuan. Splurge. Blood shot out, and Yemo took it into a jade bottle without hesitation. Kuan was finally enraged by Yemo now. Yemo hacked him in the same spot 3 times, and the third strike made a deep gash in his claw. This wasn't it. This insect cultivator dared to take his blood. He turned around and clawed down at Yemo. Yemo didn't dare to fight head-on with Kuan. He immediately wanted to retreat, but he felt movement was difficult. Even breathing was difficult. Yemo realized that this was Kuan's domain. It was natural and much more powerful than the domain cultivators use. He knew that he can't be bound. If he does get bound, he would be over. He would turn into mince under Kuin's claw. Yemo also expanded out his domain. He released Octagonal Cauldron again. That instant, he broke free from Kuin's domain and used his domain to form a standoff with Kuin's domain. Thud, thud, thud. Kuin claw Yemo's Octagonal Cauldron. Octagonal Cauldron was sent flying by the claw, and Yemo spat mouthfuls of blood again. Yemo's face went pale, but when he found there was a huge space fissure waiting for him, he forcefully changed direction mid-air, barely avoiding it. Crack! Yemo knew that his forced change cracked 2 of his bones. Yemo ate a few pills and Kuin chased over again. Seeing this, Yemo didn't move aside. Instead, he clutched Zisu tightly, waiting to give Kuin a heavy blow when it came. Seeing that Yemo dared to wait for him, Kuin was furious. His speed increased, and in less than a second, Yemo was under its claw. It snarled furiously. He was certain this insect was dead now, because Yemo had nowhere to run. But when Kuin got closer, it dazed. The insect-human cultivator was gone. It subconsciously looked back. He clearly saw that the human cultivator didn't fall into the space fissure. Why was it gone? Before Kuin could react, Yemo came out of the Golden Page world and hacked Zisu with full power while using countless lightning sword attacks. Yemo was determined to send this disaster into space fissure. Kuin dared to fight Yemo and Blue Moon here because he was very sensitive to space fissure and disposition. Before he could react, the human cultivator suddenly attacked again. This attack was aimed at his eye, and there were this many terrifying lightning swords. His eyes were his weakest spot. How could he let the insect cultivator hit it? That instant, Kuin retreated without hesitation. But when he retreated into the space fissure, he realized he was tricked. It roared furiously and sprayed out a blue mist. The blue mist enveloped Yemo and brought him into the fissure. Seeing this, Yemo was shook, but before he could react, he was brought in. The terrifying bone-scraping space wind shocked him. He wanted to dash out immediately, but the next moment, he saw that the fissure was gone. Yemo reacted quickly. The fissure was gone. This meant he was inside a void space. With his power, this was suicide. Yemo didn't dare to watch the Kuin at all and went into the Golden Page world immediately. Even if he was to come out, it would be after he figured out what this dimension was. Luckily, Kuin came in here too, and that means it can't go hunt Blue Moon. After settling in the Golden Page world, Yemo threw out a surveillance formation. As soon as the formation disk landed out, Yemo saw a gray world, or space. It was boundless and had no living beings. There were just the occasional asteroids floating past rapidly. As soon as the formation disk landed out, Yemo saw a gray world, or space. It was boundless and had no living beings. There were just the occasional asteroids floating past rapidly. Space wind blades flew in the space flow everywhere, and there were some unknown fine sands floating in the air. As for the Kuin beast, it was nowhere to be seen. The surveillance formation disk didn't last long and was torn apart by a space wind blade. Yemo realized what was scraping his skin and bones. It was these fine sands. Yemo threw out a few surveillance formation disks, and everyone was torn apart. How can he get out of this place? After a long while, he tried coming out of the Golden Page world, wanting to test how powerful the space here was. But as soon as he came out, countless fine sands came striking at him. One fine sand flew over, and his armor was sliced apart. He couldn't dodge all those space wind blades at all. There were too many here. Screech. In a short time, Yemo's clothes and armor disappeared, and he didn't have a single area of uninjured skin. Yemo wanted to hide into the Golden Page world, but a black sand swiped past his waist. He couldn't even dodge it. Yemo saw a few more black lines coming over. He didn't dare to stay anymore and quickly went into the Golden Page world. If he was slower, he would be dissected into countless parts by these lines. In the Golden Page world, Yemo laid naked and full of injuries. He had gashes everywhere, but he didn't intend to heal himself at all. He thought of that Fong Izong. How was he able to survive in this space-tearing dimensions? Even if it was using the power of the space transmission rune, it was still very powerful. Yemo was certain that even if he could tear space, he wouldn't be able to get to a place that he could tear space. He was a rather powerful cultivator, and in this void space, there was nothing he could do at all to survive. Just what sort of cultivator would be able to survive in here? This was only the void space of the cultivation realm. If it was the void space of the immortal realm, wouldn't it be more horrifying? Only then did Yemo realize how absurd Chujuyu was. He ripped open dimension from Luoyu and passed this endless void space, and the ripped open another portal to Earth. He not only needed to be able to tear space open, but also be able to travel in this chaotic space. This wasn't as simple as staying outside for a bit. He needed to search for the next dimension point for the destination. There would be places where the space wind blades and sands were gathered, but that was fine. However, if the black lines were gathered, who could stop it? Plus, there were more space disposition and fissures here. Yemo took a cold breath in. This meant that he had no way out. Even if he can tear space open, he wouldn't be able to find the position to go out. I didn't expect the difference between me and Chujuyu is this huge. Yemo sighed. When he beat Fong Yizong and Yin Su, he thought that even if there was a gap between him and Chujuyu, it wouldn't be too big, but now he realized just how much difference there was. But then Yemo thought, if Chujuyu could tear open space of Luoyu to Earth, why can't he go back from Earth to Luoyu? It probably wasn't that he didn't want to go back to Luoyu unless something happened. That was, he knew he didn't have the ability to tear open space a second time. Or, it was a special occasion that he was able to tear open space to Earth. Yemo sat down, had thought of another possibility. Even if he could tear open space, who could be sure that the portal was to Luoyu? Yemo shook his head. He can't even come out of his golden page world, much less tear open space. In this place, perhaps only a cultivator whose body refinement has reached an extreme state can survive. Suddenly, Yemo got up. Body refinement. Didn't he have a body refinement cultivation method? The Wu God chant. Although he can't go out, this was a very powerful cultivation ground. A cultivation ground for Wu God chant. It was incomplete, but he didn't need a complete one. He can use the 3 birth chant to create his own body refinement cultivation method. On the Luoyu continent, the body refinement cultivators had 9 states. 3 states were master, 6 states were king, 9 states were god. The 3 master states were bone state, gon state, and master state. 3 king states were hollow state, soul state, and king state. The 3 god states were monarch state, disaster state, and god state. There were rarely anyone on Luoyu continent who went to practice body refinement. It was rare for cultivators to even reach master state. As for king state, they were 1 in a millennium. As for the 3 god states, they were just of the legends. The main reason was that body refinement used up too much cultivation resources, and in battle, body refinement cultivators can't beat truth cultivators. The main reason is that body refinement cultivators would only have increased lifespan at king state. Otherwise, even if you reached master state, you had the lifespan of an ordinary person. Usually, it was cultivators who didn't have spirit root who chose body refinement. Plus, body refinement cultivation methods were very rare, and there were no high-level body refinement cultivation methods in Luoyu. If you didn't have spirit root, you wouldn't have large amounts of resources to cultivate body refinement, so you wouldn't be able to reach high levels. High-level cultivators had the resource to practice body refinement, but they didn't even have enough time for cultivation, so no one chose body refinement. Yemo had decided to start body refinement. With the use of 3 birth chant, Yemo was surprised to find that he easily converted the Wu God chant into a body refinement cultivation method. Almost instantly, he reached bone state. Was this because he was a body refinement genius? Or was it because he was truth realization state cultivator, so the first level was so easy? Or was his first level wrong? Thinking about this, Yemo used his cultivation essence to form a cycle according to the bone state, and soon, there was a light golden aura around him. What shook him more was that his wounds healed without him eating any pills. Yemo felt that golden ray and was certain that this was indeed the first state, bone state. Realizing this, Yemo felt he might be able to reach the king state, or even the three God states in a short time. Yemo quickly put on some clothes and sat next to the bitter bamboo on the Herb King's spirit range. He didn't continue cultivating the second level. He wanted to use 3 birth chant to form the entire new body refinement system first, and then cultivate. Yemo had 3 extreme grade spirit range and 1 Herb King spirit range. Yemo had 3 extreme grade spirit range and 1 Herb King spirit range. Although it was too much of a waste to use extreme grade spirit range to power the time formation disk, but he couldn't care at this moment. 1 month outside and 1 year passed in the time formation disk. Yemo used this year to reform the new body refinement cultivation method system. Yemo called it the 3 God body refinement chant. Yemo had never seen body refinement cultivation method, and he knew his body refinement system was imperfect. He needed to cultivate and find mistakes inside to perfect the system. When Yemo left the Golden Page world, he had used up nearly half of the extreme grade spirit range. This was so wasteful, and it could only reach 12 times speed. The immortal crystals were so much better. It easily reached 100 times speed. The second level of body refinement was gone state, forming a barrier of golden chi outside your body. This chi attached to the surface of the body, making it hard like a rock. Even ordinary magic artifact wouldn't be able to break through it. Yemo thought he would be able to reach it shortly, but when Yemo used the 3 God body refinement chant, he found that the second state was completely different to the first. He spent 3 days inside and dying to get any progress. Yemo thought of body refinement because of the chaos flow outside, so now that he had no progress in the Golden Page world, he immediately left. As soon as he came out, the space wind blades with the space chaos flow started to swipe across his body. The fine sands started tearing at his armor. But this time, as soon as his armor was marked, a golden light formed on the surface of his body. The golden body protection cultivation essence came out, and the fine sands hit on the golden barrier. A light crack sounded and the golden barrier was torn open, but it started to repair itself under Yemo's cultivation essence. Yemo saw this and rejoiced. This body refinement cultivation method was really good. He only reached the first level and he could last this long. If it was before, he would have long been scarred. The golden barrier broke not because the cultivation method was bad, but because his level was too low. He reformed the barrier and started to cultivate the second level of body refinement, gone state. In this dangerous environment, Yemo soon felt a difference. He started to repair the weak parts and correct the mistakes. Yemo closed his eyes. He learned state. He could use state to feel the cultivation essence flow and the reorganization of his bones and blood. When Yemo woke up again, he found he had stayed outside the Golden Page world for an entire day. He didn't even need to activate the Ganchi, and it would repair the golden barrier itself. So this was gone state, Yemo realized. But Yemo knew this was far from enough. His goal was to reach into the 3 God states. Even the lowest monarch state was enough for him. But Yemo knew this was far from enough. His goal was to reach into the 3 God states. Even the lowest monarch state was enough for him. In the 4-month in this void space, Yemo gritted his teeth and went into the space whirlpool. He knew that if he didn't fight for it with his life, he would never reach king state, much less monarch state. As soon as Yemo went into the space whirlpool, a powerful space disruption instantly brought Yemo in. In the blink of an eye, Yemo's clothes were torn off. His skin started to crack. Even his soul state body wasn't able to block it for a moment. Compared to these space whirlpools, those black lines, chaos flow, and the sands were nothing. This was really the epicenter of death. Yemo used 3 God body refinement chant to the extreme, but still he felt his skin and bones were going to be stripped away. Yemo even wanted to charge into the Golden Page world, but he knew that if he did, he wouldn't be able to reach king state in a short time. Or even if he did, there would be a sliver of fear in his heart. Yemo ate a few pills, and the 6th state cultivation method was run at full power. The mistakes were being corrected, and his essence blood being purified. His bones, flesh, and even essence spirit were being strengthened. 15 minutes later, that tearing feeling was still there, but compared to when he first came in, it was completely. Yi Imo knew if he continued doing this, his king's state cultivation method would be perfected. 3 days later, his skin and was still being taken away, and so was his blood. Even his bones were being broken down inch by inch. 6 days later, the loss of blood and skin were very slow, but now, Imo's entire body was pale due to loss of blood. However, he shut his eyes close and kept weaving hand signs, bringing the broken meridians and the blood to flow in a certain way. It was as though the space whirlpool hurting him didn't exist. 9 days later, the blood on his body had stopped splashing yet. Even his bones stopped breaking. 12 days later, Imo's wounds gradually started healing. 18 days later, his torn skin started to grow back, but at this moment, he suddenly opened his eyes and ate a few pills. At the same time, he broke off a piece of the ICL and ate it. This was his last immortal curl flower. Even when Chu Yun broke her arm, he didn't give her one. He could give her pills and spirit range because he got things from Chu Xiaoyi, but also due to Kong Yi. The immortal curl flower was different. There was no price for this. This was something to save life with. How can he give it to Chu Yun so easily? He gave one to Miao Huijin because she was guarding them to begin with, so he robbed her. He gave one to Jiefeng because he was no match for Jiefeng. If he didn't give it him, he would rob him. Luckily, Jiefeng didn't, and gave him some pills instead. He gave the third one to Jai Ling because Ji Ling was someone he respected and lost his body due to him. But Chu Yun was different. He kept his last remaining immortal curl flower, and now indeed he used it himself. On the 25th day, Imo's wounds completely disappeared, and his skin had recovered, being smoother than before. It was a little darker, but Imo liked it this way. He didn't want his skin to be too white like a girl's. 28 days later, Imo's bones cracked and his cultivation essence flowed even faster. This cracking continued for 2 hours. Afterwards, Imo took a step forward and joy flashed in his eyes. He knew he had reached king state now. He took a step forward and could easily stand in the space whirlpool that destroyed his armor before. As Imo stepped out more, the space whirlpools even split apart. Imo howled and used his hands to break the whirlpool. His body was extremely strong now. Imo could tell that even though his cultivation level didn't increase, the king state body refinement greatly enhanced his cultivation speed. He would only be cultivating faster in the future. At the same time, Imo sighed. If he knew body refinement was helpful to cultivation, he would have long began doing that. But soon, Imo realized that it was impracticable. If he wasn't body refining here, he wouldn't be this fast. When he reached king state, Imo had the feeling that if he wanted to reach monarch state in a short time, he would need to increase his power to truth realization state middle stage. Otherwise, he might not be able to reach monarch state in 100 years. There was definitely some correlation between him reaching king state in 4 months and his cultivation level. In other words, if he was still disaster transformation state, he would at most reach soul state here, or he might die in this space whirlpool. Nevertheless, Imo didn't want to give up. 5 months had passed, and Imo passed through all the dangers in this space, but there was still no clue to monarch state. The 3 god states were still too far-fetched for him now. Imo sighed. This was a perfect body refinement place, but he was still truth realization state level 1. If he wanted to reach the 3 god states, he would either have to reach truth realization state middle stage, or spend a few decades here. There were still disposition rivers and space storms in here, but Imo didn't dare to go in there at all. Imo felt that it would be suicide to go in there without reaching 3 god state. Luckily for him, his king state power was enough for him to survive in this void space. He can even walk around freely as long as he avoided the center of the space storm, or those chaos flow rivers. When the space wind blades hit him, they were knocked away. The black lines that almost cut Imo in half before broken into 2 parts when they hit him. In the Luoyu continent, there had been people who reached king state, but Imo believed that even if they did, they were a far cry compared to him. One was because that his body refinement cultivation method was birthed from 3 birth chant. Second was that they didn't have a training ground like this place. Just when Yemo wanted to check where the dimension barriers were at, an ice crystal thing appeared before him. Yemo casually grabbed it, and this soft, cool sensation passed into his hands. Void Ice Heart Rock? Yemo blurted out. This was a level 10 material. At this moment, Yemo looked at this dull gray space and his eyes lit up. Was he going to get rich here? He would have never expected that in a void space filled with killing intent, there would be a black city. But reality was so, and he saw the two cultivators go inside with his own eyes. Yemo was surprised for a moment, but immediately followed up. When he came to the door, he was shook even more. This entire city was built with void black star rock. That was level 7 forgery material, but soon, his shock became dumbfounded. This city wasn't built, it was forged with void black star rock. Just how much forgery skills were needed to forge a city out of void black star rock? How much time would be needed? A newcomer, a crisp voice sounded. He saw two young cultivators sitting at the door of the city. They were both nascent soul state and seemed in their 20s. They were leaning closely together. Behind them was a truth realization state, peak stage old man, but he stood behind them as though he was just a servant. At this moment, the two truth realization state, peak stage EMO chased were standing together, and they seemed worried. The young man with dark skin and long face scanned the two and said calmly, "Seeing that you brought back a fat goat, leave 40% of your things." "Yes, young master, you." The two truth realization state cultivators rejoiced and took out a stack of ores. EMO looked at the ores and knew they were found in the chaos void space. Many of them were level 8 or level 9 forgery materials. "You guys can go," the young man said calmly. The two truth realization state peak stage seemed to have heard the best news and immediately disappeared into the city. At this moment, that young master you studied EMO before frowning. "Olgio, why does this guy look so young? What power is he?" The old man said, "He's only truth realization state level 1 power. The reason he's so young is probably because he ate some powerful spirit herb or had some fortune." Hearing this, young master you frowned. "He's a garbage. A mere truth realization state level 1 cultivator didn't die in the space chaos flow. What good things can he have?" That young girl laughed and pinched the young man. "Not necessarily. Didn't you hear old Joe say that this person might have some fortune?" The young girl pointed at Yemo. "Truth realization state level 1, show me your storage ring." Yemo scanned the two coldly and Olju but didn't attack. This was his first time here, and he didn't make clear of the situation here yet. At this moment, another truth realization state peak stage cultivator flew over and bowed to young Master Yu and the girl before taking out a stack of ores. Seeing that, young Master Yu nodded and took them. Then he waved his hand, and the cultivator flew into the city. Yemo realized, these two young people seem to have very high status in the Black Rock City. Those cultivators who come in must give half of what they find to them. So domineering. These truth realization state, peak stage cultivators all needed to listen to the two young cultivators. One could imagine how terrifying the power behind their backs were. "Trash, are you deaf? Did you not hear that I told you to bring over your storage ring?" The young girl's face went cold. Yemo's face went cold and said coldly, "Why should I give my storage ring to you? Who are you?" As soon as Yemo said this, a familiar figure dashed past. It was that truth realization state peak stage beast cultivator in the Heartless Sea who stopped him. He saw Yemo, and a glance of mockery flashed in his eyes, and he disappeared in the city. The young man suddenly laughed. Okay, I was just going to take the things I wanted before, but now I'm going to take everything. What are you going to do?" He scanned Yemo scornfully. "This is my place. If I want you to hand over something, you have to hand it over." A mere truth realization state level 1 cultivator didn't die in the space chaos flow, but you dare to defy my order in the Black Rock City. You're asking to die. Yemo frowned. He knew that the power of the city wasn't something he could mess with, so he said coldly, "Oh, your Black Rock City? Then I won't go in." Then Yemo turned to leave. He really didn't want to go in now. This city was at most an asylum place in this void space, but he was king state in body refinement. He didn't fear the outside. Ha ha ha. The young man laughed. A mere truth realization state. Level 1 trash. Dare to go when you please. Do you think the Black Rock City is a charity? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.